Happy New Year and happy patrons. We thank you very much for your support over at patreon.com/comic timing. And you guys help us continue to do this show for as little as $1 a month. You can get yourself access to some behind-the-scenes content, some diary entries, occasional early releases, random other tidbits and goodies and fiddly bits that I might throw out there for you. And we thank you very much for all continued support that you folks give over at patreon.com/comic timing. Hey there, folks. My name's Ian Levitstein, and welcome to Comic Timing. It has been a while, a couple of weeks, actually. We had a couple of filler episodes in there. You got to hear an extra point by Chris that had been released exclusively to Patreon, and, of course, our Back to the Bins from a couple of months back. But here we are with episode 238, and we are back in previews time. And joining me for said previews maven himself, another year older. Oh, hey, both of you are another year older. How about them, Adam? Mr. Adam Murdough. Adam, what's going on?
Mm-hmm. Well, Ian, it's another year older and much better rested now that the Christmas season is in the rear view.
I can only imagine, sir. I can only imagine. I'm sure it was a lot of long nights of shilling Christmas merch.
Mm-hmm. Yep, but now we've settled in for our long winter's lull, and that's I've got that much more brain space to devote to fun things like what comics are coming out a couple of months down the road.
Indeed. And another man who is looking forward to said comics to talk about down the road, the one, the only, the Mr. Chris Eberle.
Double it.
Oh, man. Levy poo. I'm almost speechless by that imitation of that most pathetic of sounds I tend to admit when I'm excited.
Hey, look, if I could make you speechless for exactly 5 seconds, I have achieved my goal, my friend. I have achieved
as you noted, I am also violently slouching towards middle age, through middle age, I should say now as well, but with full vigor still intact.
Excellent. Excellent.
We've got good genes on our side, Chris.
Indeed, brother.
Yep, you better believe it. And before we get started, talk about winds of change. It's kismet that this is a previews episode that we happen to be recording tonight, as news broke earlier today on the day that we are recording this. We are recording this on January 14th, 2025. Diamond Comic Distributors is entering Chapter 11 bankruptcy. This does not mean the end. That is not what Chapter 11 actually means.
Right.
It means that there's going to be major restructuring. It means they're going to be basically reallocating funds. They're going to be liquidating. They're going to be selling off parts of their business, and they're hoping to continue in one form or another once they leave Chapter 11. However, not every company leaves Chapter 11. So that is something to remember with that. I'm going to bring up the actual letter that was sent out to a whole bunch of retailers and outlets that was sent earlier today. Specifically, earlier today, Diamond made the difficult but necessary decision to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. This step is intended to stabilize our financial foundation and protect the most vital aspects of our business. Chapter 11 will provide us with the opportunity to restructure and address our financial obligations. They are already in the process of selling off to Universal Distribution, Alliance Game Distributors, coupled with a signed letter of intent to purchase Diamond UK. And they say that they are remaining to be committed to pursuing offers for all Diamond lines of business. So that means very well Diamond itself, at least the distribution end, could very well wind up sold off at some point as well. But yes, Diamond UK will, if things stand, no longer be part of the existing Diamond Comic Distributors company as of probably a few months' time from now. Can't say I didn't see this coming, but still doesn't exactly ring positive in the long run. It's hard times.
I think I have two reactions to this, Ian. First, as a human being who tends to be, full on the side of working people.
Yeah.
Obviously, I feel for anyone working there because now their job is now perhaps tenuous, or they're unknown where they're going to end up, and that's a terrible position to be in. So, and when the 18 years I retailed, I on the phone, I worked with different diamond people, and most of them seemed like nice people and very helpful. Having said that, as a retailer, that company made my life a hell. And I have no sympathy for the owners or the people who set up their policies, because they made it very, very difficult to make a comic book store a going concern in the years that I was involved in doing that. Because, and I mentioned this in over the years and many times, but I'll just say it again. Diamond acted like what they were, which is they were a monopoly, which means they could do whatever they wanted to you, and they did.
Right.
So I felt no sympathy when I saw all the big publishers jumping ship. That should have happened a long time ago. Would have made my life probably easier as a retailer.
Yeah.
But what I always come back to, and what I will never forgive, is the utter lack of appropriate payment terms.
Oh yeah.
And when you're dealing with the kind of business where when you think about the comic shop reservation model, it's really crazy. But you're counting on people who may or may not come in a reasonable period of time to pick up whatever they've ordered, and that's come in for that week. And if Diamond really gave a damn and really understood the stores they were feeding, they'd give you the standard amount of time to pay for shipments, which, as Murdough can attest, in most businesses, at least 30 days.
Yeah.
Now, I had to beg. I want to say beg on emails and phone calls. This is after I'd had an account with them for years. I got 2-week terms. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And as you can well imagine, plenty of people don't come in 2 weeks to pick up their books.
Of course.
So now, again, that's not the sole reason I closed my store, of course, but I'm just saying that from a strictly business perspective, they went out of their way to make life difficult for retailers.
Yeah.
And it looking back on it now, that whole part of the business was miserable. I hated dealing with them on a regular basis. I deeply resented just how stressful they made it. They made it when it's selling new comics and new product. So again, my heart goes out to people who work there. The people in charge, burn in hell. That's my reaction on that. Because monopolies, and this is shown time and time again, especially in our country, not a good thing. Not a good thing.
Murd, as I wouldn't quite say one of the last bastions of physical purchasers, but certainly they are getting fewer and far between, which unfortunately also leads at least partially to the dire straits that Diamond is in.
Their own admission.
Your thoughts on it? Your thoughts on the current situation?
Well, I mean, I'm not particularly surprised by this either. I mean, I think a lot of us saw the writing on the wall when the major publishers made their own exits from underneath the Diamond umbrella. I mean, Marvel, DC, and several other of the larger publishers are already being distributed elsewhere by other means, other companies. And I'd been hearing from Scott, the man down at the local shop, Golden Eagle, that the Diamond publications, the things that Diamond were still handling, were becoming more and more chronically late. So, yeah, that's signs of troubled times there. And, that letter that you showed on screen a little bit ago, Ian, was accompanied by a list of FAQs that they sent around. And in those frequently asked questions, they included an explanation for why this happened, which they laid at the feet of, among other things, less consumer activity. In the comics field and just in the economy in general, because people are having fewer and fewer money, less and less money. There's smaller and smaller discretionary income to spread around on luxuries like comic books. Which witness, as you said, there are fewer and fewer people like me who just show up to the local comic shop and purchase a weekly stack of paper comics these days.
Yeah.
So, Murd, I'm still on that readout with you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, I thank you, Chris. I'm happy to have you here in the trenches with me. But yeah, it's just if you give me the comic in paper form, or just don't give it to me, is what I'm saying. I don't need another reason to have to stare at a screen. I keep saying that over and over again, broken record that I am and always will be. So yeah, if I have no use for digital comics. I want the paper thing, and the paper thing is getting a little bit harder to get into people's hands. And well, we'll just see if the balkanization of the monopoly that was Diamond Comics Distributors is going to improve things in any way. I will say the future of the previews catalog, which is going to be the subject of this episode, of course, is still up in the air. That was one of the FAQs, and all they said was, we'll let you know if things change. And also the future of Free Comic Book Day, or at least Diamond's role in it, is still in question.
Well, the other thing I'm sorry, and go ahead, please.
No, I was just going to add in there that in the private comic timing chat that some of us have, Brandon Christopher mentioned he works at a comic shop currently, and he did mention that the books from Diamond, as you mentioned, that Golden Eagles have been having a problem with, have either been delayed, not delivered, or arrived day of because of proximity. And they still owe them a whole entire shipment from a few weeks ago that from when they lost their warehouse, which we discussed in a previous episode, that they decided to close their New York warehouse and basically just make things centralized to that one warehouse that existed. Now we understand another reason why they let that lease lapse, but it's difficult for a store as in a situation like this, because you're expecting new stuff to come in, and as Chris mentioned, when people don't show up, that's money lost on you. But also, if people show up to the store and they want their goods and their goods aren't there, they're not guaranteed to come back.
Nope.
Yeah, it's a really shitty situation, all things around, honestly.
And the other thing I would say is that because I thank you for Ian for forwarding that letter. I read it earlier today.
Yeah.
If you read between the lines, I don't think Diamond's long for the earth.
Yeah.
Because if you've lost virtually all of the major publishers, which I guess they had by this point, they've lost DC, Marvel, Image, I think Dark Horse jumped ship.
They've lost exclusivity on Dark Horse, Image, and
Boom. I think.
Boom is the most recent.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, if I was a retailer, and I'm really glad I'm not at this point in my life, and that's not to poo-poo on being a retailer, that's not for me anymore. But I would not be putting any money on Diamond at all in terms of the company being. I mean, look, part of the problem with being a monopoly when I was dealing with them is that, because you're talking about reliability, that could still be an issue back then. Not like to the degree you're describing, but things would be broken, they'd be damaged, they wouldn't show up. They'd often try to replace, but there's nothing else you could do.
Mm-hmm.
So if this is a country that's supposed to, be so celebratory of capitalism, well, great, because they couldn't cut it. So now people have, the retailers have other distributors that they can turn to for the different companies. Sounds good to me in that sense, because as again, I'll stop because I'm getting on, because it's an emotional issue for me, because it caused me real stress in my professional life. You can't treat your customers like that. People do, but if you want people to succeed, you need to extend yourself, and they just did not do that.
Certainly. No, absolutely the case. Yeah. And, with other distributors out there like Lunar and, Random House has been picking up a lot of the work as well. One of the main lenders to Diamond in this Chapter 11 bankruptcy is actually Random House, which says to me that I wouldn't be surprised come a year from now if we hear that Random House has gobbled up the remaining distribution arm of Diamond, and it's all going to go their way, because they actually have the strength to do that. They are a major player in bookstores, have been for years, and now they're working with the major comic book publishers to get stuff out. So it just makes a lot more sense than somebody like Diamond at this point.
And Murd has another valid point he mentioned. Murd's points are usually valid, but especially here in that, Murd and I are dinosaurs. We still like to read paper comics, but between the advent of digital and, as Murd mentioned, with the economy, it's harder and harder for people to afford an abundance of wants versus necessities. So,
Yeah.
If someone, and again, speaking as a teacher, I mentioned this before, I mean, just my own experience of 26 years of teaching, most young people are not reading comic books.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some are reading manga. I see that in class often, actually.
Yes.
And, some are maybe reading stuff online, or maybe they could pick up a graphic novel. But again, the floppy format. Look, here's a perfect example. The previews, like the DC previews, is full of facsimile editions.
Oh, yeah.
They're making facsimiles for people our age or older who
Of course.
finally remember those books and
Yeah.
are going to buy those facsimiles.
Yep.
So we're like the market right now for facsimiles.
or people our age that are then going to give it to their kids and be like,
Yep.
"Hey, check out this issue that I loved when I was a kid." But it's not going to get bought by the kid; it's going to get bought by the parent to give to the kid.
Right.
Definitely. Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, if we have further information, obviously we'll pass it along. But like I said, kismet that we happen to be recording a previews episode when this news came out, because it's very much going to affect previews. This catalog, as of now, will contain stuff that is still set to be, released in the month that we're talking about. Don't be shocked if stuff gets delayed. That's all I'll say on that front when it comes to at least the stuff out of Diamond this month. So,
Yep. Good disclaimer.
Indeed. And one other thing to say, to bring it back to the old show, times are changing when Pants got an iPad. All right, moving on.
Thinking that this whole time.
Yep. It's like wow, like that's when we know that times are changing and things are very much going to be different moving forward. So, yep. All right, onward we go to the previews catalogs. And once again, Image finally gave their catalogs a number. So this is now issue 3, even though this thing's been coming out for months now, but whatever, of the Image catalog. Previews will be issue 436. We have DC Connect issue 56, and we have Marvel's issue 40. And cannot wait to talk about some of that crazy Godzilla stuff happening over at Marvel this month. That's going to be good times. But we will begin with Image, as we do tend to do. And boy, oh boy, are they making me happy this month on page 3. As this is officially the first new Invincible book in the Invincible universe since the conclusion of the original Invincible series. This is Invincible Universe Battle Beast #1, story by Kirkman, art by Otley. They're back together immediately.
You are a happy man.
Yeah, I'm a very happy man.
You are a happy Hebrew, sir. This is right up your alley.
Yep. Hey, I have 2 Hanukkahs in a year, so like I'm a man, it's that's the way we're gonna roll here. But the best new, not quite a superhero series in the universe. Battle Beast searches the universe for the one warrior mightier than him, and a glorious death his only reward. Battle Beast is a character that factors very heavily into the Invincible story. And this is going to tell essentially an untold story previously in the Invincible universe of how Battle Beast got to become the character that we knew him as, and how he became one of the scariest characters in the Invincible universe as well, for some of the stuff that he managed to do, which you'll probably be seeing soon if you're a watcher of the Invincible animated series, as there's some fun stuff coming up, to say the least. So
I want to point out, just to go back to the cover for a moment there, please, Ian.
Yeah.
Great tribute to Kirby style art, having the weapon just so prominent in the foreground like that, so dynamic, very Kirby-esque. Great cover.
Very, very good point there. Yep. And the alternate covers, and oh my God, look at that Otley art.
That's good stuff right there. Oof.
Oh my God. Very few artists can make a desolate landscape like that look full. And Otley achieves that goal in spades, and it's beautifully on display with this double-sized spread here. So, cannot wait for that. Do check that out on page 3.
Ooh.
All for you, Chris.
Bitterroot, the next movement. Look at that cover. All right, so you got David Walker, one of my favorite writers in recent years, Chuck Brown, art by the great Sanford Green. So this is a return to the Bitterroot universe, which I've talked about on the old show. It's a family in I forgot, is it New Orleans? I haven't read it in such a long time.
I think you're right about that, actually.
Yeah. And so this is going on. They're going ahead of generation 1964, and the new generation, the Sangarai family. And again, they deal with like monsters and so forth. The first series was wonderful. That took place in the 20s, I want to say. But how about that cover?
Beautiful.
With that sort of mod 60s feel to it. Great stuff. Sanford Green, top notch.
Yep, and this is a 5-issue mini that is available here on page 7 of the Image catalog, and first issue set to launch on March 26th. Looking forward to that, and we're also looking forward to the return of Adventure Man with Fraction and the Dotsons.
Yes,
excellent.
So great tribute to pulp heroes in these stories. Another great recommendation. Good stuff for Image right off the bat. Woo.
Yeah. Yep, they're really knocking it out of the park this month. This is going to be a 3-issue mini. Each one 32 pages, and this is the Connell family reeling from the shattering events of the previous miniseries, Adventure Man Ghost Lights. They'll need to tap into the roots of the Adventure Man family tree of heroes to make the world right again, starting with a Luchador dynasty immediately in. Savage Savat kick-fighting, and the star-crossed teenage romance that brought Adventure Man and Mimi Chagall, the super scientist, together. Yeah, this is classic right here, and looks like it's going to be excellent artwork, great storytelling. Page 8 for Adventure Man Family Tree 3-issue miniseries.
Oh, I think this is going to be another in here, Ian.
Yes.
All right.
Nerd. Yes. Assorted crisis events. The crisisologist may have the floor.
Okay. Well, let's see. Written by Denise Camp, art by Eric Zawadski, and it's let's see. It's kind of reminds me of Nick Spencer's Infinite Vacation on the face of it. Here, it's about what goes on in fictional worlds where crisis type events, and we as comics fans know what that entails, are a reality. Let's see here. Time is having a crisis. Mingling in the red light district, you can find cavemen, medieval knights, and cyborg soldiers on leave from World War IV. Victorian debutantes amble their way into cell phone stores, confused and bewildered. On their way to work, commuters get trapped in time loops, assaulted by alternate reality versions of themselves, and try to avoid post-apocalyptic wastelands. And look, the 315 bus just took a wrong turn into the Neolithic era. It's all just terribly timey-wimey and yet painfully workaday all at the same time.
Oh my God, this is perfect. 48 pages of assorted crisis action here. Denise Camp on the story, Eric Zawatsky on the artwork and the cover. I cannot wait for this. And the artwork on the next couple of pages really just paints the picture beautifully of what.
Wow, look at that.
Yep.
Just think of those scenes in Crisis on Infinite Earths in which George Perez shows us just street scenes of dinosaurs and spacemen and things, and reporters interviewing befuddled Revolutionary War soldiers who have stumbled into 1985. And just imagine that was the focus of the series, as opposed to all the cosmic Sturmendrang and the dozens of caped characters. There's just a story that takes place exclusively in the gutters of a crisis story during scenes like that. And that seems to be what we're going to get from this creative team here. And I know that Ian and I are there for it.
Abso-frickin-lutely. Confirmed atypical temporal phenomenon in your area. Threat level, moderate.
Moderate.
Oh, man. Beautiful. Cannot wait for that. All right, and a whole bunch of preview pages of that, by the way, in the Image preview. So if you haven't checked that out, you can get a little bit of a peek behind the 8-ball there. And as we move on to page 15, your face here, Monkey Meat, the summer.
It's like a Gremlins 2 reference there.
Yeah. Junie Ba's Monkey Meat #1, the summer batch. This is an anthology back for 5 new issues. The creator of The Boy Wonder. Going on vacation? How about a hellish African fantasy island run by a corporation selling cans of monkey meat? Enjoy our summer vacation format with 2 tales, games, and double the excitement. An anthology right up my alley on page 15. And I just love saying monkey meat. Meanwhile, Universal Monsters The Mummy, #1 of 4. Faith Erin Hicks on the story and the artwork for this. So we didn't get the Universal Monsterverse in movies, but it appears we're getting that in comic books. Okay, yeah, that'll
Wasn't
do.
that the intention with the Tom Cruise movie? Then it just flopped. They didn't go further with it, right?
Yep.
Okay.
They had that horribly photoshopped image of everyone who was going to supposedly be in movies associated with the Monsterverse, where they were clearly all in different rooms and then photoshopped together, looked like they were on the same couch. And then nothing went forward after the Tom Cruise one flopped. Good times.
But I'm glad they're doing it in comics.
Yes, and this looks like a good 4-issue mini here. A whole bunch of great alternate covers to go along with it. It's a stunning new vision of the seminal horror film like you've never seen before. Have either of you seen Nosferatu yet, by the way? Oh my God. Ugh.
I'll tell you, if Penn State had not won their playoff game on the night before my birthday, I probably would have been in the mood to go see Nosferatu on New Year's Day.
It's a movie that's well worth seeing in the theater. It is visually stunning.
It is.
So I recommend it.
And the voice of Nosferatu is absolutely wonderful. Although it kept making me think of Nandor from What We Do in the Shadows. Yeah, check it out if you're into Universal Monsters. The Mummy #1 of 4 by Faith Erin Hicks on page 16 there. And the following has some really snazzy artwork to go along with it, as well as a great pager to set the tone.
Now, Dark Horse did a The Mummy adaptation a long time back in the 90s that involved Tony Harris artwork.
Ooh.
I'm still...
Wow, I didn't know that, Merv.
Yeah, it didn't have a high print run, as was the case of a lot of early 90s Dark Horse stuff, but I want to try to track that down at some point. But in the meantime, I will also be buying this.
Well,
so Dark Horse is just called The Mummy?
I think it was just called The Mummy, yeah. It was a loose adaptation, or at least inspired by the original Boris Karloff film.
Do you remember who wrote that?
I'm tempted to say Steve Niles, but I'm not at all sure.
I'll keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, The Mummy, Tony Harris. I have to look this up for my own sake more than anything else. Let's see. You said Dark Horse did it? Let's see. Comic. And okay, I did find it from 1991. Wow. And wow, the look of this comic is exactly what I would expect from 1991 Tony Harris. I'm gonna switch my share over to screen one real quick just so you can see what the cover looks like for this. That is outstanding right there. Yep.
All right, I'll keep an eye out for that.
Yep. Good stuff. Okay, back we go. We're taking everyone down with us, or we're taking everyone down with us. I feel like that's another one that needs to be kind of screamed.
Absolutely.
Yep. 6-issue mini, Matthew Rosenberg, Stefano Landini, and it's a double-sized first issue, only for $5, which is not too shabby. After, at least these days, it's not too shabby. After her mad scientist father is killed by the world's greatest spy, 13-year-old Annalise is left all alone in the world. Sort of. Her dead dad's robot bodyguard is following her around for some reason. Now Annalise has a choice. Try to lead a normal life for the first time ever, or seek revenge and maybe overthrow the world in order in the process. Why not? Good copy this month from Image. Yeah. Really snappy, getting to the point of everything. Well done. So We're taking everyone down with us, 6-issue mini beginning this month on page 21, and really digging the look of the artwork on the next couple of pages as well. Cool design for the robot.
Yeah, it is. Looks like an edgy Gwen Stacy is the protagonist.
A little bit there, yeah. Not bad. And then, of course, you'll do bad things. He's wearing a GIMP mask. It's been 10 years since the release of He Came In With a Smile, the true crime smash hit that chronicled the brutal murders committed by the nursery rhyme killer. I actually vaguely remember that. But in the decade since its release, its author, Seth Holmes, hasn't produced another title. He wants to write a story with a happy ending, but every time his fingers clack across the keyboard, it always ends in his character's death. Worse yet, these tales of blood and barbarity that flow so freely from Seth's mind are starting to happen in real life.
So, Ian, are you going to wake up the GIMP?
Yeah. I'll get right on that.
You step aside, Butch. All right, go ahead. Sorry, I had to get my Pulp Fiction.
No. All good. 6-issue mini. You'll do bad things. Tyler Boss, Adriano Tortolici. And this sounds like a really cool premise. One of my favorite concepts that folks go back to is things that the writer writes coming to life in one way or the other. And this seems like it's going to be right up my alley in that fashion as well. So, page 27, you'll do bad things. And it's set in New York City, so you can't help. Good times. Love the noir style.
Yeah, art is beautiful. Really good artwork. Wow, look at that car. Oh,
perfect.
Great style.
Yeah. All right. And on to a little double page action here. However, we do have one-shots.
Mr. Innes, I see here.
Indeed. Yep.
Kids, one-shot.
Yeah. One-shot will be a perfect bound magazine trim size and feature a cardstock cover.
All right. Listen to this. I'm laughing because I'm reading Innes's. I just got the hardcover collection, A Walk Through Hell, which he did for Aftershock, which is superb and really terrifying. And so I'm looking at the copy for this. In one bewildering, terrifying instant, every child below the age of 1 disappears, replaced by creatures beyond their mothers and fathers' understanding. What happened to the kids? Who are these deranged, hyper-violent adults who've taken their places? One horrified couple do their best to solve the nightmarish puzzle. Before they can find the answers they seek, they must survive the night. Ian!
Yeah, that sounds like an Ennis comic.
Yep. All right.
Has Ennis recently become a father that we know of?
I can answer that. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he does seem like he's definitely dealing with the terrible twos here, one way or the other. So yeah,
like the kind of dystopia that Parenthood would inspire.
Yep, very good.
I just got from Innes in one of my more recent shipments. He did I forgot if it was for Image or not. He did a one shot. I think it's called Joe the Fix or Joe the Fixer. It's about a fixer who deals with. He's in Hollywood and he's dealing with like different supernatural creatures who like go off the rails in their public behavior, and the guys to come and like clean up the mess. So imagine like, the stereotypical Hollywood fixer, but then like, a guy's a werewolf and he's lost control and he's torn apart his lover and the guy has to go and clean everything up. It's superb. Only Innes could do a story like that.
Nice.
Very good. So anyway, I'm looking forward to this as well.
On that same page, by the way, the other one shot sounds fascinating to me. Almost Starman-esque, dare I say. Dreamweaver Giant Size Special one shot by Chris Ryle with artwork by Nelson Daniel. Cutler Carlton is the Dreamweaver, or at least he was until he grew too old to handle a magical threat from his past. That's when he transferred his powers of illusion to the much younger Bella Howard, and in the process, wrecking both of their lives in unforeseen ways. Dreamweaver Giant Size SYZ Special by Chris Ryle and Nelson Daniel. So,
Bird, I'm surprised you haven't burst out into song.
I really think you can help me through the night.
Nice.
Thank you. Automatically feel better. Proceed.
Well done. Everybody get their lighters out. Well done. Both of those, by the way, were on page 34 of the Image catalog. All right, a whole bunch of running stuff. We will mention G.I. Joe issue 5.
So good.
Yep.
Yeah, the new GI Joe. If you're a GI Joe fan, this is the new series that takes place in the Energon version of GI Joe. Don't be just put off by that. This is outstanding work by Josh Williamson. Great art by Tom Riley. If you love GI Joe, this is just a new take on the characters, but it still retains the essence. Outstanding stuff.
Excellent. I think I mentioned on last previews, but I received both Volume 1 and 2 of Transformers and as gifts over the holidays. Ooh. So I'm very much looking forward to cracking those open in the not too distant future.
Is this the Marvel classics?
No. This is the current. This is the
current one. Okay.
Yeah, the Energon stuff. So got some good stuff ahead of me. All right. And you know what I will mention as we're passing at Geiger issue 12, the full cover reveal happened on January 8th. I'm not going to bother looking at it because I'm not current on Geiger, but looks like there's going to be some big stuff happening as the series ends with a nuclear showdown. I'm sure there will be a second Geiger series to come at some point, but this is the end of the current Geiger story being told by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank on page 40.
My eye is drawn to the Marvel official handbook of the Marvel Universe Master Edition style front, side, and rear view of Junkyard Joe there. Variant cover C.
Very nice. Yes. Love it. Okay. And down we go. We got a couple of other ongoings. Of course, the Patchwork Girl of Oz, we mentioned in the past, issue 3 of that on page 48.
I will be snapping that up in trade as soon as ever I can.
Excellent. And Radiant Black issue 32. We will be covering volume 1 of Radiant Black as our very next episode of this show. So looking forward to that. And
amen, brother.
I've decided on a title that I believe I shared with you gentlemen as well. We are going to be calling these review corners, as that was a long-standing nom de plume for our reviews on Comic Timing in years past. Of course, it was linked to a company that very much no longer exists anymore, which is Heroes Corner, the DCBS alternative that lasted 17 seconds. But Review Corner is still a good name, so we're sticking with it. So. All right. That's what we'll be doing for any of those type of episodes that wind up coming out in the future.
Mm-hmm. Works for us, Ian.
Indeed it does. Happy to be involved.
How about discovered a Savage Dragon 276 while we're going? Amy Dragon taking stage.
What an incredible
version of Mr. Talkie Tawny.
276 issues. Wow.
Yeah. Yep. Eric Larson's still pumping them out. Page 51. And then the send up on Savage Dragon 277. Yep. Great tribute to Batman there on page 52. And still no Saga, I will point out. That is still in hiatus, but Transformers issue 18. They are avoiding spoilers for this one, as apparently there are going to be Autobots versus Decepticons versus spoiler. So looking forward to that on page 55. Not the DC character. John Arcudi's Convert for
good writer. Very good writer.
Collected here on page 58. All about a catastrophic disaster which destroys ship and crew. And a crew member is left to fend for himself on a beautiful but deadly planet in this gorgeously haunting sci-fi fantasy tale. Savannah Finley on the artwork for that one as well on page 58. And Mr. Zdarsky's The Domain, collected in full, first 5 issues of that on page 59.
Oh, so this is the Domain character they're working on in Public Domain, which is a book I've raved about immensely in the past. Again, Public Domain, just quickly, it's Zdarsky writing and drawing. I think it's his best work. It's basically the story of Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, but with analogs. And what if that tragic story went in a very different direction? But it also really is not paying homage, the wrong way to put it, but it's also really acknowledging all the trials and tribulations creators had to go through in the earlier eras of the comic book industry and how that might affect a family as well. It's easily one of the best books being made today, public domain, in my humble opinion.
And I find it funny that Zdarsky essentially followed the route of the escapists, as
good point.
Brian Vaughan wound up making a comic out of the escapist character that was very, very well regarded back in the day. Obviously, Michael Chabon created Cavalier and Clay, and then Brian K. Vaughan did it. To Zdarsky doing both things here, but similar process, similar style. Page 59 for the 5 issues of The Domain. And Remender and Passane's Grommets collected in full on page 60 as well. Brian Michael Bendis and Steve Niles Spawn Complete Collection.
I forgot about this. Hellspawn, that's right.
Yeah. All 16 issues there, and what a combo of luminaries. Bendis and Niles together with Ashley Wood and Ben Templesmith. Damn, good stuff. Page 61. And Remender's Napalm Lullaby also collected there in full. The 10 issues of that on page 62, and Jeff Johns' Redcoat, which I'm looking forward to reading. Available for 7 issues of that, as well as the part of the Geiger 80-page giant on page 63 with some Brian Hitch artwork to go along with it. All right, so even though I have volumes 1 and 2, part of me is like, maybe I should have waited for the hardcover, but what are you going to do?
Hardcovers look nice on the shelfie and they last longer.
I know. Once I start with a format, I'm going to stick with it.
Understood.
And I start a trade.
Uniformities.
Exactly, yeah. But this is a deluxe hardcover that looks like it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. Page 64 there. Direct market exclusive looks nice too. All 12 issues of the current Transformers series. They are on page 64. Wow. Alan Moore's Violator.
Oh my God, I forgot about this too.
I still have that in issues someplace. It might have been the first Alan Moore comic. Well, no. I know I had bought Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow before this, but it's one of the first Alan Moore comics I ever bought.
Wow. Yeah. This is a reprinting of the 1994 3-issue miniseries, now in trade paperback for the very first time. Collecting all 3 issues of Alan Moore with artwork by Bart Sears and Greg Capullo.
Wow.
Damn. Very, very good creators to go along on both sides. And there's your 3 issues there on page 65. 88 pages of content for $10. That's what 88 pages will bring you these days. Yeah, got a new printing of Criminal Volume 4.
And this again, anyone who loves crime noir, film noir, if you're not reading Brubaker and Phillips, all their work, but the Criminal series is just tailored for people who love those kinds of stories and appreciate that kind of sensibility. This is top-notch work by the best creative team in comics.
Absolutely. This collects the 4th volume of said Criminal series, offered again here on page 66.
I think Image remains the most exciting publisher in comics, just as we go through all the different books they're offering.
I agree.
I agree. The variety in genre, all the great creators. Mm-hmm. Hats off.
Yeah, certainly the most diverse of the publishing companies in so many different ways. Wes Craig's Kaya, issues 19 through 24 of that, volume 4 on page 68. And what a cover for Death and Dolls. Damn. 5-issue mini collected as one. Doug Wagner on the story. Daniel Hilliard on the artwork, page 69. And they're recollecting the trade paperbacks of Saga. This one with a brand new cover.
Issue 7 through 12.
Yep. 144 pages there for $14.99 on page 70. And that will finish out Image as we head to the main previews catalog to get things started. We mentioned most of the Free Comic Book Day stuff last month. Obviously, we know that is in flux. We understand. But as of now, it is still scheduled for May 3rd, 2025. How they're going to get to you may be up in limbo a little bit, but, we shall see. We shall see. All right. Here we go. Starting things off with the Boom stuff once I get through 87 Free Comic Book stuff. Here we are. All right. And David Peterson
Wow.
returns with Mouse Guard Dawn of the Black Axe, number 1 of 3, illustrated by Gabriel Rodriguez. The origins of the legendary Black Axe are revealed for the very first time in celebration of the 20th anniversary of Mouse Guard. New 3-issue mini by a long time.
20 years. Man.
Yep. Outstanding.
All dissolve into sobbing heaps of wrinkles and gray hairs. At the very mention of it.
I actually feel new gray hairs popping up as you say this, Murd. It's crazy.
Oh, Levy Pooh, you're a young man.
Oh, I know, but I have gray hair, damn it. But that doesn't look too bad. It's kind of Reed Richards-y.
I think it looks great.
Well, thank you, Chief.
Distinguished.
Thank you. Distinguished and refined. But David Peterson, going back to Mouse Guard is always a positive thing. And here's the 20 years, sir. And you can check that out on page 48. Excellent artwork, as always, from David Peterson. Nobody draws a mouse better than him.
He is not drawing this book, though, is he? Go back to the credits.
No, you are correct about that. It's being drawn by Gabriel Rodriguez. I
Looks
believe.
great, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. Last Boy, number 1 of 5.
Peter
Dan
Pan.
Pinocchio. Yep, indeed. Got a new take on Peter Pan's adventures. Years after Peter Pan's adventures, that is, with Wendy Darling, the boy who wouldn't grow up is now the last one in Neverland, still clinging to his adventurous youth. Meanwhile, in London, Wendy also yearns for childhood and its freedom from responsibility as she rails against the transition to adulthood and her family's expectations. As their desires create a mirror of fantasy and reality, a disastrous encounter with the aging Captain Hook becomes the catalyst for Peter's realization that Neverland is growing up without him. This sounds like an awesome, almost Old Man Logan-esque experience here with Peter Pan, and I think it's going to be very different than Hook. That's being described here. Although Hook has its positives. Don't get me wrong.
Of course, but yeah, this is definitely not that. This is not Peter Pan already grown up and into Robin Williams, having gotten a day job and forgotten all about his childhood in Neverland. This is a very different angle.
Yep, and I'm all for it here. This sounds like it could be excellent. Alessio Avallone on the artwork to go along with Dan Panosian on page 52, and look at that cover on page.
That is stunning. That is stunning work. Whew.
Beautiful. Wow. Character designs too on the next couple pages.
Captain Hook is definitely getting decrepit there. Yep.
Yes, he is. Yep.
I love Peter Pan's hat. The way they've drawn it, rendered it here. Wow.
Yeah,
fantastic.
that's great. Yep. Plus we get
Tinkerbell. That's not your grandpa's Tinkerbell. Holy man.
No. that is a Witchblade Tinkerbell right there. Meanwhile, Power Rangers Prime gets its first softcover collection, and I may very well be picking this up, because this is essentially the Ultimate Universe version of the Power Rangers, starting it at a ground floor, brand new take on the entire franchise. And it's been getting very positive praise. And as a longtime Sentai and Power Rangers fan, this is right up my alley. So collects all 4 issues of the new Power Rangers Prime series on page 56. And issue 5 on page 58 to follow it up. Going down a little bit further into Boom. Avant-Garde's The Complete Collection. Get some basketball comics here, as it collects Avant-Garde's issue 1 through 8 and Avant-Garde's Down to the Wire. So if you're looking for a little bit closer to all ages action, you'll find it here with Avant-Garde's on page 66. Of course, Jim Henson Presents gets its 3rd of 4 issues. And 7 of 8 for Jim Henson's Labyrinth on page 69. And that is going to do it for Boom. And on we go to a very interesting Dynamite series, Thundercats Lost, number 1, by Ed Brisson, with art by Rafa Labasco. After being shot down in the middle of a war zone, 5 Thunderan warriors are fighting for their lives. Together they face a horde of heavily armored soldiers, and the team's only hope to somehow break through their lines to reach the wreckage of their ship. Even if Humra, Linkso, Shen, Ligan, and their hammer-wielding commander Bengali make it out alive, will they still be able to complete their mission? So this is the essentially the B team of Thundercats that was introduced later on in the Thundercats series. And this is their comic book introduction here with Thundercats Lost #1 on page 79. Interesting indeed.
So these are characters that were seen in the animated series way back when?
Yes, if I'm remembering correctly, these are the Thundercats that we got much later on. Basically the cousin Olivers that were brought in to try to breathe new life into the Thundercats franchise. But they worked pretty well with the story that was being told. It was similar to actually probably closer to Supergirl, where Supergirl got ship got lost and eventually landed. That pretty much happened with this second group of Thundercats that arrived on the new Earth. Later on than everybody else. So, Thundercats Lost. Vampirella gets a new #1, and Chris, you very well may be buying it.
I will be, because it's Christopher Priest writing it. Now, I read he did an earlier volume of Vampirella. I remember I read the first trade, and I knew nothing about Vampirella except the fact that she was an alien. That was it. And that she first appeared in 1969, I think from Warner Comics, if I remember correctly. But I love the Priest volume 1 that I read, because like he did with Black Panther, he took the character and all the established aspects, but made it fresh and exciting for, readers new and old. So I didn't stay with it, but I'll definitely pick up issue 1 to see what he does here again as well.
Yep. As we're on the road to issue 700 of Vampirella.
And of course, what's the most logical next step towards number 700 is going back to '1 again.
Sure.
And the last issue was number 673 or something like that.
I love Murd's bitterness. Excellent.
Hey, we call it the Marvel way, and you know what? That works for
legacy numbering.
Exactly. Yep. Page 87 for Vampirella #1/670 whatever. And there is a crossover going on, baby. And Joe Casey is
Casey. Oh, right.
With Sebastian Peens, Space Ghost Johnny Quest, Space Quest #1. This is too good not to pass up.
Wonderful! What a beautiful cover. Oh,
wow. Oh, beautiful.
If only I liked Johnny Quest just a little bit more.
Yeah,
goodness knows it's quality creators, but I watched the version of Johnny Quest that was on the Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera Sunday mornings in the 80s, and was never really impressed.
Come on, Murd, you're not a Race Bannon fan?
Not especially. I think Bandit was probably my favorite character, and he was the least favorite character of the creators of the show.
Now, there's one way to make this better, and that would be if it was Space Ghost Venture Brothers. Now that I would be for. That's
Venture Brothers in any comic book I would probably be laying out my coin for, but this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this doesn't quite have me, I'm afraid.
Well, Ground Control to Major John just makes it that much better, and Space Quest will be coming at you soon on page 91 by again Joe Casey. So it's bound to be some good comics. And then they're collecting the Johnny Quest Time Flies collection by they say Joe Cassett. But they sure do mean Joe Casey. They just spelled it wrong twice.
Yeah, it's just the same typo twice. That is pretty bad.
Really?
But if you squint at the cover image, you'll see it does say Joe Casey. So let's go with that.
Even
what was the name?
I was going to say, even further down in the solicit, it says Joe Casey. They just said Joe Cassett for the hell of it.
What was the name of the character with the turban? I forgot.
Haji.
Oh, yes.
Haji. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was Haji. Yep. All right. We get Red Sonja Attacks Mars by
Sure,
Jason.
why not?
Yeah. No. An interplanetary event for the ages, and you can check that out on page 97. Good times. Good times. And issue 2 of the Herculoids. I did see the artwork for the first issue. It did look stunning. So any of you Herculoids fans out there, your second issue reaches you on page 103. The second issue of Darkwing Duck on 107. The Disney Villains Scar Collections. This is both hardcover and trade paperback, sized at 6 by 9 inches. So both the hardcover and the trade are 6 by 9. Interesting. But you can get the hardcover for a little bit more at $19.99, or the trade paperback for $14.99, and get to learn more about one of Disney's best villains, Scar, on page 109. What a cover for DuckTales number 5.
Oh,
That's pretty great. Brandon Montclair continuing his DuckTales series on page 111. And you get some Gargoyles action, Gargoyles Quest collections. Greg Weisman continuing his Gargoyle stories on page 113. And Green Hornet Miss Fury continues that miniseries on page 115. Essentially, Green Hornet's Catwoman, Miss Fury, getting in on a nice miniseries action there. And I think that's about it for Dynamite. And we'll move over to Titan real quick, beginning with Patrick Zerker's Solomon Kane, The Serpent Ring, number 1 of 4.
this is exciting. Great creator, first of all, Patrick Zerker. But Solomon Kane is one of the Robert E. Howard characters from his legendary pulp writings. Of course, Howard was the creator of Conan and Cull. But Solomon Kane was his other major creation, the vengeful Puritan. And I think Marvel had the license for a while, I want to say in the 70s, right, Murd? I think he appeared in black and white magazines there. And he's been appearing in a wonderful Conan crossover miniseries that Jim Zub is just finished up. I think it's Conan the Black Stone. So in the hands of a good creator like Zerker, this is probably well worth reading.
Yeah. Up until this month, I never realized Solomon Kane was a Robert E. Howard character.
Yep.
There you go. And great cover there by J.H. Williams, by the way, to bring it all together. Page 134 for Solomon Kane, The Serpent King, number 1 of 4. And
Murd, the joy we edify. Murd, we edify each other here.
Oof. The Mignola cover, my God.
Yep, it's a good one.
Excellent. Ooh, great
It's beautiful artwork. He's a great artist. Yeah, he's well suited for this character.
And of course, your gem of the month, Conan the Barbarian, the original comics omnibus, volume 6.
So they removed the Marvel Comics group from the covers, but these are the Marvel issues. Conan's run in Marvel is legendary. There were so many great stories between the color comic and then, of course, the legendary black and white Savage sort of Conan magazine, which I think was my first introduction to Conan that I think about as a kid. But you can't go wrong with these stories. But you especially can't go wrong with Ian if you proceed.
Mm-hmm. But let me also point out.
Okay, please.
It includes the Conan Comics Group Classic, because it was the Conan Comics Group that put out the What If book. What if Conan was stranded in the 20th century?
That's a good story.
I know, but I love that you're able to throw a What If title into there. Fantastic. Page 138. Now continue, sir, with Conan the Barbarian number 19.
Again, I just feel it's my duty every time I'm on a preview with the guys that I have to mention how good this title is.
Mm-hmm.
And I just read the latest issue a couple days ago. Anyone who loves the medium and for just the potential of the medium, this book is achieving that. The art between Doug Braithwaite and Roberto de la Torre is simply breathtaking. Yeah. And Jim Zub, month after month, and adjacent miniseries as well, he just captures the essence of the character, what makes the character so compelling. Some people might think of Conan as like this sort of meathead, sword and sorcery, character, but he's actually, when he's handled well, he's a character who is thoughtful, and there's a lot going on there in terms of the history, from when his youth to when he later becomes a king. There's a profound melancholy attached to the character, and this series really captures all that, and also the swashbuckling, all the fun elements of Conan as well. But there's real meat on the bone of this book. It's one of the best comics being made today.
Fantastic, and you get Doug Braithwaite art on this particular arc here, so can't go wrong with that. page 140. All right. Let's talk a little bit about this RuneScape, the Untold Tales of the God Wars. RuneScape, that is. RuneScape is one of those series that's existed for many years. Kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons type situation. And Ryan O'Sullivan is bringing this MMORPG RuneScape into comics with Untold Tales: The God Wars. So any of you RuneScape fans, Titan has you covered here. Collects issues 0 through 4 of the series, plus behind-the-scenes content on how the series was made on page 146. And this right here has to be mentioned.
Yes.
Marvel's Daredevil, the first 60 years, goes behind the scenes of the comic book.
Yeah, it's been 60 years. That's right.
Yeah. Yep. Lavishly illustrated with stunning art, this tribute to one of Marvel's most iconic characters also includes profiles of the talented creators behind his ongoing adventures. So, nice reference book here for you on page 149.
One of my all-time favorite characters.
Indeed. Manga before manga.
Ian, can I just say the title for a minute?
Oh, sure. Go right ahead.
Toxic Super Beasts. Thank you. Go ahead.
Oh, no, please, by all means. If it wasn't going to be you, it was going to be me, so either way. Monster Mayhem Unleashed. There, I got to say that. As the fog clears and colossal creatures stand as tall as mountains.
It's capitalized, folks. Go ahead.
Exactly. Be one of the bystanders in their shadow by opening Niken's explosive manga, Toxic Super Beasts Volume 1. Thrusts readers into a reality not too different from ours, except there's super beasts in it, until terrifying monsters begin to appear one by one. Man. I mean, this artwork looks fantastic. And it's up my alley. It's got monster action. Give it a go. Page 152 there. Toxic Super Beast Volume 1. Oof. Oh man. Oh, beautiful renderings there.
Yeah, it is.
Oof. Very Pacific Rim-esque on the character designs. All right, and that concludes our take there on those books. I'm just going past Image here so we don't have to look at it again. And I'm also going to go through Aftershock because, as I pointed out on last episode, Aftershock doesn't really exist anymore, and it's a ghost company. So there's that. Murd, after we recorded, I added that into the episode as I realized that a lot of the stuff that we were mentioning that we were happy about seeing from Aftershock was all stuff from like 2020 or earlier.
Yeah, so. Ian, if you go back to Aftershock for just one moment and indulge me, please.
Sure. Yes.
As you noted, there's some really great books. Like when Aftershock was a going concern, I mean, Garth Ennis did work for them. I remember the Animosity book. I remember reading, I think, the first trade of that. That was really enjoyable. Yeah. I just mentioned A Walk Through Hell earlier in this program. Again, if people want to check out some really good stories, get some of these trades, because this company produced, I think, a lot of quality work.
Yeah. So. It's just the thing that gets me, though, is that like how hard you would have to actually look to realize that none of this stuff is new. And
no, none of it's new.
Yeah. And that Aftershock, if you even go to their Wikipedia page, it mentions Aftershock went out of business. So this is essentially a ghost company. Whatever stock they still have, they're soliciting in previews, and
over and over and over again.
Exactly, until they have no more. So go figure. All right. Meanwhile, over we go to DC, a slightly more alive company. Starting off with the All-In Saga, and Snyder, Williamson, Wade, Tom King, Zdarsky. This collects Absolute Power #4, All-In Special #1, Justice League Unlimited #1, Batman 153, Wonder Woman #14, and Superman #19. So this is all the beginnings of the new story arcs that started coming out of All-In. And they're all collected to you in one trade paperback. So if you want to get that all in one place, you can get there on page 1.
Yeah, kind of a nice little catch-up digest for several of DC's recent keys, if you will.
Mm-hmm. And then we get to page 2. And this is I'm trepidatious about this. I'll be entirely honest. I love Hush. I think Hush is one of the greatest Batman stories of the last 25 years, and Batman number 158 brings us the first issue of Hush 2, written by Jeff Loeb, art and cover by Jim Lee and Scott Williams. So the band is quite literally back together here, and Hush returns, and we'll see where this goes. I mean, look, I hope it blows my socks off. I'm worried that this is kind of cash grab territory, and I hope it isn't. I hope it's a very enjoyable story, and I hope that I'm happy to be reading it. So
What happened to the bright-eyed, 20-something idealist? Man,
you see, Chris.
I've seen some things, man.
I've seen some shit, and now I'm 41. So that 20-year-old idealist, that was 20 years ago. Let's just put it that way. So,
I'm still proud to know you. Go ahead.
Oh no, absolutely. And look, I like I said, I hope this is good. I'm just gonna have to read it to find out one way or the other. So. What is good and what I do praise significantly, my 41-year-old heart loves Absolute Batman. And, I'm aging myself, by the way. That's in 2 weeks, but still close enough. Absolute Batman number 6, Scott Snyder, Nick Dragotta. This is surprised me every single issue that has come out. I'm loving what I'm reading so far. It really revives and redesigns the Batman character and his mythos in such unique and different ways while still being Batman. Definitely give it a read if you haven't already. Absolute Batman number 6 on page 4. And Absolute Superman and Absolute Wonder Woman on page 5 are all excellent in their own right as well. But here's indeed Absolute Green Lantern number 1.
well, all that matters here is the writer for me, Al Ewing. I mean, that's enough.
Yep, that alone at least earns this book a look from me.
Yep, well put, Mark.
Although the blurb, without the core, without the ring, without the willpower, you don't really have much left, do you?
Yeah.
And yet, there's somewhere there's going to be a Green Lantern in there, and only Al Ewing can explain to us how.
Indeed, the character design reminds me a little bit of Joaquin Thunder, to be entirely honest with you, and the Green Lantern logo reminds me of Jim Lee's redesign of Kyle. So I don't know if that's the direction they're intentionally going, but either way, this is going to be a read, definitely. And I look forward to seeing what exactly we're going to get out of Green Lantern in the Absolute Universe. So can't go wrong with Ewing. Definitely can't.
Anybody who helmed the masterpiece that's the Immortal Hulk, as Bird said, always gets a look for me when they do something new.
Indeed. Yep.
And here's something that it caught me completely by surprise. I hadn't even known that DC was going beyond, the Trinity with this Absolute stuff. So the Green Lantern and Flash and this, here on page 7, Absolute Martian Manhunter were complete surprises to me. And this is coming to us from the writer Dennis Camp, who is the same person who's writing that Assorted Crisis Events one-shot from the Image section of the catalog. And art is by Javier Rodriguez. That's... That's not to be missed. This of the 3 new Absolute series that are dropping in this catalog, this is the one that excites me the most.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The design sense of it all, like what he's going to do with the character of John Jones, I cannot wait to see where this one's going to go. Yep, definitely. Oh, and what a striking cover. My God. Page 7 for that Absolute Martian Manhunter. And then Jeff Lemire, Nick Robles, it's Wally, without the mentor, without the family, without the Speed Force, what's left is the Absolute Scarlet Speedster. So I can't wait, number 1, to see how the hell he gets his powers without a Speed Force. So
that his Uncle Barry to let him into the lab.
Exactly. This is not your daddy's Wally West, but at the same time, it's still Wally West, so I'm very interested. Page 8 for that. Yep. Meanwhile, I gotta read this one in my bold voice. Peacemaker presents the Vigilante Eagly double feature.
Oh, the vigilante. Huh.
Story consultant by James Gunn, written by Tim Seeley and Rex Ogle, art by Mitch Gerads
Wow.
and Matteo Lally. Damn,
That's quite a team.
yeah.
Wow.
Oh man, this is an original DC Comics story inspired by James Gunn's Peacemaker series on Max, that I am very much looking forward to checking out. With a star-studded creative team like that, and I love the first Peacemaker series season. Season 2 is coming soon. I just finished Creature Commandos, which was a shockingly fun animated series on Max, and that's now been renewed for a second season as well. So, yeah, worth checking out. Now, here's something that I never expected to see. Nicole Maines, Steven Segovia, Secret Six #1, page 10.
I have fond memories of the original series.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Was it Gail Simone who wrote that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was really good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes, and it's her non-involvement in this series that's kind of giving me pause as to whether I'm going to buy it or not.
Fair enough, yeah. And Eaglesham had the artwork on that first Secret Six, I believe the Villains United, and then the first couple of Secret Six issues as well. But in the wake of absolute power, the Justice League has returned. The war criminal Amanda Waller is in prison, and things are finally getting back to normal. That is, until Dreamer, John Kent, and Jay Nakamura discover that Waller has somehow vanished into thin air from her cell. With seemingly no leads and nothing but questions, our three heroes are forced to team up with the bad guys, Deadshot, Catman, and Black Alice, to track down Waller, reclaim the infinite troves of secrets in her head, and uncover what the deal is with all these frickin' chess pieces they keep seeing around. So, checkmate?
Probably.
That'll do.
What I remember fondly about the Secret Sis, the original series, was how she made Catman such an interesting, dynamic, and complex character. Even when toe-to-toe with Batman, that was a great example of taking a character, kind of like the way what Tom King did with Kite Man.
Yeah.
And just makes them just so interesting. Great writing.
Yeah. And then there's also a redesign of Catman's costume we're going to wind up seeing in this series that looked pretty good. So, yeah, Secret Six #1. I'll definitely give it a read and see how it compares to the original and what we're going to get out of it. Also a Jonathan Kent fan, and I did like Dreamer when Dreamer was in the Supergirl series, and now she's a mainstay here in the main DC universe. So,
can anyone enlighten me as to who Jay Nakamura might be?
Jay Nakamura is a very familiar name. I'm going to look it up right now. Let's see. So Jay Nakamura is the boyfriend of Jonathan Kent, and I believe Jay may also have powers of his own now, if I remember correctly. So
To run with a group like this, he'd almost have to.
Yep. Due to experimentation against his will by Henry Bendix, Jay is also a post-human with artificially created metahuman abilities.
Okay, Henry Bendix being from the is he from the Authority? Sounds like a Wildstorm character to me.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. At least from what I know. There's a bunch of Jonathan Kent stuff that I'm not caught up on, so this is definitely part of that. And yes, he is originally from the Wildstorm universe. You are correct.
Okay.
Yep. First appearance was Stormwatch #1.
There we go. And Stormwatch, of course, evolved into the Authority.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will mention this book, however, it has already been delayed. So,
Really?
Yeah, Adventures of Superman, The Book of L, Philip Kennedy Johnson. This is going to wind up coming out eventually. It's not ready yet, so this solicitation is basically null and void. But keep it in mind, it's Philip Kennedy Johnson. It's going to be good stuff. It's just
great writer.
It's just not coming out in this particular solicit. So,
Ian Levinstein, our man on the spot.
We get Wonder Woman #19. Diana's bloody war with the Sovereign reaches an epic conclusion on page 12.
So I've decided with this Tom King book, I read the first couple. I'm going to wait for the overall collection of everything.
Okay.
Just because some Tom King books, I'll read month to month. Some, you know what? I'm going to wait and experience it in the trade. This one I'm going to wait for the trade.
Makes sense.
When they inevitably collect the entire thing.
Mm-hmm. Justice League Unlimited, issue 5, Mark Waid, Dan Mora.
Read the first issue, loved it, by the way.
Oh yeah, and this is going to be a team up with the Legion of Doom, so you know it's going to be fun.
Plus, what's going on with Airwave? Airwave. Anyway.
Yep. We get to Mark Waid. We get Challengers of the Unknown, issue 4. Cantwell and Isaacs. The mystery of Darkseid's death deepens. Page 15 there. Of course, anything Cantwell we're willing to check out, and I'm looking forward to reading that first issue. Hearing very positive things about Aquaman that just came out. Obviously, it's Jeremy Adams, but John Timms on the artwork, who I loved on Young Justice. Looks like he's doing a bang-up job on the new Aquaman series.
And it looks like Zatanna is being reintroduced to her old short-term love interest from the 80s, the Blue Devil.
The Blue Devil.
Latest series, miniseries.
Nice. That's all there on page 16. Starbreaker, introduced in Green Lantern number 21 by Jeremy Adams.
Yeah, there's a quote-unquote classic Silver Age Justice League foe for you.
Mm-hmm. And Sinestro back in green. Green Lantern Corps number 2 will tell us more about what the heck is going on there. Also there on page 17. Birds of Prey number 19, the League of Assassins presses the attack. As we get further into the story being told by Kelly Thompson there, page 19.
Oh, my.
Yes. Harley
we
Quinn
truly come to this.
I mean, clearly, it's hard to describe art, and just when something like this deserves to be like immediately in the Smithsonian, you just got to go ahead and point it out. It's mwah.
I just like they have like an old, like they have a harken back to the old like scratch and sniff, full of real smart farts you can smell with your nose.
Oh my God, Harley Quinn fartacular silent butt.
I just loved hearing Ian pronounce that. Wonderful diction, sir. Wonderful.
Thank you. Wow. Page 21. Shit. Let's move on.
Oh. It's a long time to get the Borscht Belt in there. I was glad I restrained for you. We were like, man, over an hour in. It took you that long.
Yeah, well, sometimes you got to hold that crap in.
Oh, God. I didn't even mean to set you up when I did. It's pathetic.
Too good.
Let's move on to something a little, perhaps a little more weighty.
Yes.
Quality straight men are hard to find, Chris.
Yeah. I have to rave again about Batman and Robin Year One. You talk about a dream team. You got Wade and Samney. They, of course, worked on Daredevil together, did a legendary run there. Anyone who loves the Batman and Robin dynamic, especially from the early years, you owe it to yourself to read this series.
Yeah.
I mean, I was commenting, I don't remember who I was talking to, maybe one of you guys, but Mark Waid just continues to be just a consistently one of the best writers in comics. Think about all the work he's doing producing right now. Mm-hmm. This is already to me a classic Batman story. It's so good.
Yep. And issue 6 is there for you on page 23. We also get issue 4, speaking of Al Ewing, of Metamorpho the Element Man. They're also very much looking forward to reading that on page 24. We get more Mr. Mind action with Shazam number 21 by Josie Campbell and Dan McDade.
Murdough, are you reading that series or no?
Well, buying it at least.
Okay. It's on the pile. I got you.
We will all point out that it didn't take long for Power Girl to be 100% back in her original costume, and she's pretty damn close to it. Page 25. No one could have ever seen that one coming. But this makes me happy, as it looks like we get some Solomon Grundy action against Jay Garrick in JSA number 5. Always ready for that.
Oh, Cobra's up to no good again. Cobra with a K, of course.
Mm-hmm. Distinctly different Cobra!
You SOB. I almost spat out my cherry limeade on my laptop.
You're welcome. My timing was impeccable. Let's point this out, shall we? Page 20.
Yes, let's.
All right. DC X Sonic the Hedgehog by Ian Flynn and Adam Bryce Thomas. If this
There's
was
no better writer for a project like this.
Oh my God, yes. And if this were 1993, like I'd be so happy, like beyond thrilled that this is happening. I'm happy now, but still, you know.
Look how happy Superman and the Flash are to be on the cover.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Man, the crossover that you never thought you'd get. Quite literally, I don't think you actually thought you would ever get it, but there it is, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I guarantee you. Page 27. Oh, Murd gets Psycho Pirate Titans.
Oh, yes, there is a Psycho Pirate sighting on page 28, Titans number 21, where he pits his emotion manipulation powers against the empathic powers of Raven.
Nice.
It's a wonder nobody thought of this matchup before. But John Layman did it, and it's illustrated by Pete Woods, and I'm pretty sure I'm buying it.
Oh, Pete Woods.
And it seems like something Julie Benson would also buy if she's buying comics right now.
Absolutely. While we're recording this, by the way, our heart goes out to everybody in the Los Angeles area that is dealing with everything that they are currently dealing with. The fires are insane. So I hope everybody's safe. Everybody's is doing as well as they can, and continue to stay safe if you're listening to this. So
the Benson sisters have marked themselves safe, so that's
indeed.
Glad to hear it.
Rest assured of that.
Two-Face issue 4, page 28. Further Two-Face action by Christian Ward. The trial of Harvey Dent begins. And a little bit further down, a whole bunch more stuff running. But of course, Batman: The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, issue 6. Jeff Loeb.
By the way, I'm sorry, Ian, go ahead. I apologize.
No, I was just going to point out who the artist is for this particular one, which is Enrico Marini. So go right ahead, Chris.
All I was going to say was I've been reading this monthly. It's as good as you think it should be. It's excellent.
Good.
It's really well done.
That's what I want to hear.
Yep. Great tribute to Sale.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I expected no less, honestly, from Loeb. But good stuff. Page 31 there.
Oh, this is exciting.
Yes.
Yes.
Page 33, Superman: The Last Days of Lex Luthor number 2. It's the tabloid-sized miniseries written by Mark Waid, art by the the late Brian Hitch, late in the tardy sense, not the deceased sense.
Yes.
I honestly thought this came out months ago and I had just missed it, but here it is being solicited now. Got to be the better part of a year after the release of the first issue.
I think they reissued number 1 in preparation for this.
Yes.
We talked about number 1. It was magnificent. I mean, number 1 is magnificent. If you love Superman, if you love Luthor, they're dynamic. This is, I think it's like a Black Label story, but it's. I had a huge grin on my face when I was reading the first issue. It's that good.
Yeah. Comparable in feel in some ways, even though it is very much its own thing, to like the vein of like an all-star Superman. Like that's.
Yes. Well put.
That's the way that I feel about this. And that, by the way, that 1 in 25 variant cover by Francis Manipool looks fantastic.
Yes, it does.
But yeah, Superman: The Last Days of Lex Luthor. Cannot wait for this entire thing to come out. But glad that issue 2 is finally out, even if it's taken 89 years. Would you look at that?
Oh, look who's writing it, Murd.
Yeah.
Yep. It's the entire art team of the Scooby-Doo team-up series, Shali Fish and Dario Brizuela.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it's Shali Fish has always been very good at fitting himself right into the feel of whatever intermediate property he's working with. And this just from the description here, it sounds very much like this could have been an episode of Teen Titans Go.
Yeah. Yep, definitely. Say it ain't so. The Titans comic book canceled? Desperate for a relaunch, the Titans make themselves as anything from transforming robots to artsy black and white indie comic characters. When DC still doesn't bite, the Titans turn to more drastic measures like sabotage.
Or as Shatner would say, sabotage. Go ahead.
I was waiting for that, so thank you. Page 34 indeed has that Teen Titans Go issue 1.
And the facsimiles begin.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Love them.
Ones that make sense with Hush coming out, but issue 612 and 613 of Batman, we're mid Hush with that on page 35.
Here's a great facsimile, the first appearance of Harlequin.
Yes. Yep. Batman Adventures number 12. Kelly Puckett on the writing, and Rick Burchett and Mike Parabek on the artwork chores.
That is an expensive back issue right there.
Mm-hmm. And the debut of Amazo and Professor Ivy.
Murd.
Mm-hmm. Yep. My pointy ears are pricking up here.
Raven and Bold issue 30 facsimile edition. Page 37. Batman's Strangest Cases limited collector's edition. What a terrible title.
Yeah, but it was from the Bronze Age. Come on, man. They're all about terrible titles.
No, you're right. You're right. That's very true. Yeah. Experience Batman's Strangest Cases with the strangest title for a comic he's ever had. But of course, we reach issue 12 of the facsimile Crisis on Infinite Earths as well on page 37.
They released them a month over a year, right? Each facsimile issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You got it. Yep. All right, and then on we go to.
Hold on, Ian. I'm sorry. Go to the desk because I want to praise again DC's compact edition line. I have right here, for example.
Yeah.
Catwoman, Trail of the Catwoman, the classic Darwin Cook, Ed Brubaker stories. It's $10. Like,
yeah.
Great idea by DC. Get people in on the classic stories at a very affordable price.
Indeed. Yep.
I mean, it's just like when Image does like the $9.99 Why the Last Man volume. When I was retailing it, I couldn't keep that book in stock because it was $10, and I would say people, you should read this, so they would buy it.
Yep.
Again, affordability.
Page 38 for that Death Compact Comics edition. Not exactly the best day for Neil Gaiman, to say the least, but his comics still exist, and it's entirely up to you if you want to separate the art from the artist in that situation. And I highly doubt that DC's going to wind up canceling this compact comics edition, no matter what happens with Neil Gaiman, because his comics still make money. But page 38 there for Death DC Compact Comics edition. Absolute Batman Dark Victory, Loeb and Sale, page 39. So if you're looking for an absolute version of one of the greats, it is there for you. And then...
Oh, this is wonderful.
Yeah, 2025 edition of Wednesday Comics. Good stuff indeed.
So this was a wonderful concept. I don't remember what year did they do this. I don't recall. 2000s?
Let me see.
But as a retailer, I remember every week a new, basically, newspaper would come in.
2009.
2009, thank you. Of collected stories, and then they went, from week to week, and they had top flight creators, as you see here by the credits. This was really fun. I want to say is this a hardcover? Yes, it is.
It is. Yep.
Yeah, great collection. Well worth it.
200 pages, 11 by 17 and a half in size, and $75 for the oversized edition there.
And I think it includes a Commandy story, if I remember correctly.
It does.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
That was one of the strips.
Yep.
Page 30.
And now on page 40.
I knew Murdough would go for this. I can't wait to hear about it.
Well, the aforementioned Mr. Charlie Fish with collaborator Yancy Labat brings us more quality Kanga content, which I've always felt that the Amazonian corner of the DC universe needs these days. It's called Kanga U Tests and Tournaments, and it's a young Wonder Woman story, a young Princess Diana story, but more importantly, it's about a close-knit group of friends at a training academy for Kangas, the valued battle partners and steeds of the Amazonian warrior women, who have been kind of overlooked by a lot of Wonder Woman creators over the past couple of decades, but they're making a comeback. They're basically giant kangaroos, and they're heavily anthropomorphized in this take on them, even more so than in the old comics of the Golden and Silver Ages. So it's about Jumpa, which is the name traditionally of Princess Diana's pet kanga, and her little group of friends as the exciting day when they will be bonded with Amazonian warriors. But the occasion is interrupted by the arrival of the god of war Ares on the Isle of Themyscira. So you can see on the front cover, there's young Diana and this knot of central Kanga characters. It looks a little friendship is magic-y, and it's all ages friendly, of course. It's an original graphic novel, 176 pages.
Man, and the title was just staring them right in the face. Kanga U, beautiful. That's on page 40 there. And we're into a couple of other trade paperbacks of mention. The Mystery of the Meanest Teacher, a John Constantine mystery. All ages John Constantine. That's not something you see every day, but Ryan North and Derek Charm bring that to you, along with Zatanna and The House of Secrets on that same page by Matthew Cody on page 41. And we get the 0 Hour Crisis in Time Part 2 trade paperback. We previously mentioned 0 Hour on this very podcast, and if you want to get the a lot of the other issues associated with 0 Hour, this is where you'll be able to find them. This includes everything from Flash 0 to Green Arrow 90, Adventures of Superman 516, Justice League of America 92. So these are not the zero issues. These are, for the most part, this is just, associated issues with the 0 Hour Crisis in Time story.
Yep, it is the zero issues. It's also crossovers with the miniseries, and it looks like it's the final 3 issues of the 0 Hour miniseries itself.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Interesting way of packaging it, but it's you buy this volume and the one that preceded it, you will have pretty much everything from the looks of it.
Absolutely. Check that out on page 42. And then on the bottom there, DC Finest, Superboy, the Superdog. Yep.
500 pages of...
They misspelled Krypton. Come on, guys.
The Superdog from Krypton.
Or as Brandon would say, Krypton.
Krypton.
Right. Yeah, collecting Superboy stories published between spring of 1954 and fall of 1955, including the first appearance of Crypto.
There you go. Crypto, take me home.
I'm so excited.
Oh, man. Yep. It better live up to the
Yes,
trailer.
exactly.
That's all I'll say, because the trailer, it worked for me.
Knocked it out of the park. Yep.
Absolutely. Yep. All right, and then finishing it out, we have on page 44 here, Suicide Squad by John Ostrander Omnibus, Volume 1. Some of the best Suicide Squad stories that started it all off. Available for you there in Omnibus Edition. And on that very same page, Batman and Robin Volume 2 by Grant Morrison, Andy Clark, Cameron Stewart, and Scott Hanna. Some of Morrison's best work was on the Batman and Robin stories that were told there. So check that out on page 44. And then JLA Book 2 from Morrison and Porter, as well as Gail Simone's Birds of Prey Hero Hunters on that very same page, page 45. And that wraps up DC. On we go to Marvel.
I have to admit, my lifelong love of FF, combining with my love when I was a kid of watching Godzilla movies on a Saturday afternoon on cable, I am so excited for this.
100%. I'm also fully excited. First off, this is easily my favorite of the Disney.
That is great. Yeah,
pastiche. Like they took a very famous, Mike Moringo cover of Fantastic Four, and they did What If Mickey and Friends Became a Fantastic Four. It's actually a Fantastic Four issue. Yes, we say it every damn time, but at least they finally win their last. And it's an excellent variant this month. So I pointed out entirely, but yes, Godzilla versus Fantastic Four. Written by Ryan North.
Yeah, the creative team is amazing. John Romita Jr. on art. Wow.
Yes. Oh, man. They're having fun.
JR Jr. is not my favorite, but what the hell? It's Godzilla back in the Marvel Universe. Plus, if you look down below, we get King Ghidorah as a Herald of Galactus.
Oh, my God.
That sends, radioactive shivers up and down my spine.
I'll tell you what, though. I kind of wish Lionel Francis Yu was the artist looking at this.
Yeah, that's a great cover, Ian.
It's so
I prefer
nice.
that too.
Yep, but yeah.
But the Adam Kubert image of Reed desperately trying to hold the fabled FF bathtub craft together.
Yes.
As Godzilla torches them, it looks really good.
Oh my God. Yep. Abso-freaking-lutely. Yeah. Godzilla.
And Nerd made a great. I'm sorry, Ian. I apologize.
No, just it's a match made in heaven. It absolutely is.
And Murd made a great historical point in that Godzilla first appeared in comics in America in the 1970s, a classic Marvel run. They brought him into the Marvel Universe. S.H.I.E.L.D. was always hunting him, specifically Dum Dum Dugan and Gabe Jones. I think he fought the Shogun Warriors at one point, if I remember correctly.
Well, he fought Red Ronin.
Red Ronin, that's what I'm thinking.
Shogun Warriors was a different license.
They had their own book,
thing,
too.
Written by Doug Monk also.
Yes.
At
So
about the
fun
same
70s stuff.
Artwork was by Herb Trimpe.
Yes, it was.
Sorry to say, distinguished body of work that he has. I like the guy. I like his artwork. He didn't draw very good Godzilla, in my opinion.
That's a shame. The Doomasaur variant cover by Lionel Francis for One Doom #2 is also brilliant in every single way. But One World Under Doom is another series I'm looking forward to, and this is the second issue of that on page 4. Ryan North and R.B. Silva. This monster, this man. Marvel's first family will never be the same.
Good riff on the classic FF51 title, This Man, This Monster.
Absolutely. Oh, look at that
great cover. Wow.
Man, beautiful. On page, struggling for page numbers because this is Marvel. Page 6, Doom's Division #1 of 5. Yoon Ha Lee and Minkyu Jung are the creative team behind this 5-issue mini as Tiger Division roars into action for Doom. As instead of chaos, Doom has created world peace, but what does that leave Tiger Division, South Korea's foremost defenders? And we get actual Korean creators to work on this Tiger Division miniseries, so that's pretty cool. Doom Division #1 of 5. Then Doom Academy continues. We get that Thunderbolts Doom Strike issue 2 by Kelly and Lanzig. Cannot wait to read that one on page 9.
Great writing team.
Yep. This one has some Ghost Rider action while we're at it.
Yep. Again, their Star Trek work is top notch.
Oh yeah. Yep. Oh, look at that cover.
A great cover too.
Number 30. Beautiful. What'd you do to Ben? What'd you do to Ben? Fantastic 3, they call it. So we may once again have a rockless Ben Grimm to work.
Well, if we go back to the Bronze Age, for a while he wore an actual Thing suit to compensate for the fact that he wasn't actually the Thing, or they brought in Luke Cage.
Yes. And eventually She-Hulk, and then eventually She-Thing. There have been tons of other things running around.
Darla Deering, aka Miss Thing.
Yes. Who used that very same suit, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, just without the head part, so he had like a little pink-haired pop singer head sticking out of the top.
Page 10 for that Fantastic Four issue 30. And then Red Hulk #2 by Benjamin Percy.
I want you to be cynical right now. Be cynical. Come on.
Why would I be cynical about there being a Red Hulk series? He winds up in an MCU movie. I don't get it.
Okay. All right.
So why would I possibly? At least he doesn't look like Harrison Ford. Okay, let's give them credit. Like
we do have Deathlock and Machine Man in there. That's cool.
That is very true. Yep. And the great escape of Thunderbolt Ross stages an escape from the think tank where Dr. Doom has imprisoned him. Page 11. Oh, and great variant connecting color by Nick Bradshaw there. Okay. Doctor Strange of Asgard by Derek Landy and Carlos Magno on page 12. When he's Sorcerer Supreme no more, he has to figure out a new source of magic, so why not go Norse? And that is exactly what he's doing. He's heading to Asgard to try to learn himself a new trade and get himself into the fight against Doom.
Love the concept, and I love Carlos Magno's art.
Yep. Absolutely. Great variant cover by David Marquez there while we're at it. Yeah, this is page 12 here, Doctor Strange of Asgard. And oh, man, beautiful cover treatment. Page 13 there.
The Rainbow Bridge.
I love it. The Insurgent Iron Man is a great subtitle there for Iron Man. I haven't checked this one out yet, but it's been getting good praise. Like a very, very unique, different take on Iron Man that Spencer Ackerman's been putting out there. So I'll have to give it a go. Page
Last
40.
time I read Iron Man consistently was the what I consider already classic Cantwell run on the character.
Indeed. Spirits of Vengeance. Who are what is the spirit of violence? Sorry, spirits of violence, not vengeance. See, my brain immediately filled it in with vengeance, but it's spirits of violence. There you go. Sabir Pirzada and Paul Davidson on the writing and artwork there, and you'll find out that mystery of who the spirit of violence is on page 15.
Yep. Also featuring the character called Vengeance, apparently, because his big tusky face is in the background, and also what looks like Helverine.
God.
Oh, man. So stupid and yet so fun. I love it.
That's what comics are for, Ian.
Oh, Christos Gage, always a good writer.
Yep, Alan Robertson on the artwork. Deadpool versus Wolverine, slash 'em up. Number 1. The Snicks fly as Wolverine crashes Deadpool's latest gig. This was an infinite comic that's being collected just in time for April Fool's Day. Ha 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 ha. Waka waka, ladies and gentlemen, waka waka. That's on page 16 there. Okay. The hunt to bring in fugitive Charles Xavier will play out across the X universe this month in X Manhunt. Very interesting. So that'll be all the main X books, including NYX, Storm, Uncanny X-Men, and X Factor, X Force.
I wish it was being written by one writer, though, I must say.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that would unify things a little bit. However, most of these books I've been enjoying, so hopefully there'll be a unified voice enough throughout to make it worth it.
Have you been looking at the Storm ongoing series, Ian?
I haven't read the first issue yet. However, I cannot wait to get to it, quite frankly, because I know it's been getting some really high praise from a bunch of people that I respect. So.
It's, well, for those of us who are fan of like early 90s Marvel cosmic stuff, I mean, it's not to be slept on. Storm recently became like the avatar of eternity, stepping into the red boots of a certain Wendell Vaughn, alias Quasar.
Oh, Bert, right up your alley.
There was even an issue that took her into the dimension of manifestations, which is a very Grunwald concept. And if you look in the fine print of the solicit for Storm number 6, X-Manhood Part 3, it's the return of Maggot.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God. I want to point out, okay, we know who's writing this and who read comics when, because currently in main X-Men comics is Cecilia Reyes and Maggot. Okay.
Good point.
I am
late 90s nostalgia now.
Yeah.
Yes, and I am a-okay with that. Those are two characters that do not get enough love, and they've been getting a lot more of it lately. So, amen to that. Storm number 6 there on page 18. Yep, man. And the actual X-Men Hunt Part 1 is there on page 19 for Uncanny X-Men number 11. And a whole bunch others. And look at that cover there for X-Men number 13 on page 21. Oof. Good stuff. All right. And, of course, the X-Men Hunt finale. Would it be a X crossover if it didn't have some sort of either Alpha or Omega?
Or at least Prime.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. X-Men Hunt Omega does that job here. Gail Simone will be co-writing that on page 23 as the X-Men Hunt finale. Marvel and Disney What If Mickey and Friends became the Avengers. Good times. Page 24.
Poor Goofy is a Hulk.
I know.
Still has gloves on, though.
I mean, to be fair, they could have made it Pluto, and I mean, yeah, but all right.
No, Pluto's Ant-Man.
I know, yeah. All right, let's talk about this real quick. Tony Fleeks and Leonard Kirk on The Thing in a 5-issue miniseries. This is going to be a collection worth owning once they collect it all. That is an excellent creative team, and I cannot wait to see what they're going to throw out there with a character like the ever-loving Blue-Eyed Thing. Good stuff.
Murd, the guy who's upside down, is that the head of the Serpent Society?
Yes, that's Seth Vilker, a.k.a. the Sidewinder.
The Sidewinder, that's right. Thank you. I had my 80s flashback there for a moment. I love the Serpent Society stories and Cat that Grunwald wrote. Thank you.
So do I, Chris. I mean, if Jamie is kind of... he's face-palming right now. He doesn't share our love of that run, but
I know he doesn't. I love it though.
But he indulged us.
Can I also point out the cover of this is by Nick Bradshaw, so he got to draw this excellent image here, and notice the battle damage on the thing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The little pock marks there, the little tessera that are missing from his skin.
Love that.
Yeah, Bradshaw, he is this generation's Art Adams. Everybody's going to realize that sooner or later.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no question about it.
Well, I'm getting the next book.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I think I will too.
Page 26, J. Michael Straczynski, Elena Casagrande, Nick Fury versus Fin Fang Foom #1.
And it appears to be set. This is like the Howling Commando, World War II era Sergeant Fury.
Yep. Wow.
Gary Frank, amazing cover. I can't wait to read this.
Oh yeah. Yep. Absolutely. That looks so good. Page 26. Scrolling down further, we get to the facsimiles.
Facsimiles.
Yep. Fantastic Four 3.
And X133. So we did our Wolverine spotlight back in the summer. We mentioned this issue. This is a key issue in the evolution of the Wolverine character, X133. It's part of the classic Dark Phoenix saga. But it's when Wolverine really cuts loose as a solo character in a good chunk of that story. If you're a Wolverine fan, this is a very important issue in the history of the character.
Yep. And they're currently, as we pointed out, they know who's buying this shit.
Yep.
They are reprinting the entire Death of Phoenix saga issue by issue. So smart of Marvel. And like I said, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of parents giving these to their kids so that they can read it for the first time the way that they read it in individual issues. So. Yep. But also no slouch that facsimile of Fantastic Four issue 3, first appearance of the Fantastic Four's famous costumes.
Their costumes, yep. They didn't have them in issues 1 and 2.
And the aforementioned bathtub-shaped Fantastic car.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And the less fondly remembered villain, the Miracle Man.
Yeah. That's not the Miracle Man that got famous. That's a different one.
If you go to our previous show, CGS, Murdough and I and Jamie did 2 epic FF Silver Age spotlights, parts 1 and 2. We go into all these classic characters and stories.
Love it. Oof! Look at that cover for Wolverine #7. Yep. And love me a battle damaged Wolverine while we're at it. Page 31 there. Of course, Weapon X-Men continues.
I lose track of if Baron Strucker's alive or dead. I don't know.
Well, he's clearly striking, so.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, he's there, you know.
Is there like a big can that can pull you off the stage at this point, or
no? Because I'm the one controlling the zoom. So
right, try to hit you with a mallet or something.
Yeah. That would just be a mistake. Yeah, page 32. I keep the mallets away from the zoom. Chaos in the Cosmic Order, Phoenix #9, not associated with that giant crossover going on. This is just a must-read issue of Phoenix involving Thanos and Pericus. It's been a really good run so far with Phoenix. Very Marvel Cosmic. Good times to be had if you're a fan of Jean Grey. She's doing some unique and different stuff over in the Phoenix series on page 35.
It's more late 90s nostalgia, too, drawing on, the Jurgens and Romita Thor run.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great Gambit cover. Wow.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
Okay, X-Men 12, that is a stunning cover.
Yeah. Yep.
Really gets like the mystique of the character, like the back alley feel. That's really well done. Wow.
David Marquez for you right there. Yep. Page 37 has that. Gavin Guidry is the artist for the interiors on this particular issue, but this will be a Gambit-focused issue of Uncanny #12. So, page 37 for that. Onward we go to Ultimate Black Panther #14.
Ultimate Black Panther and Ultimate Spider-Man are just both consistently outstanding. If you want to get in a fresh take on both characters, you want to get bogged down by continuity or the lack of continuity, just go to these 2 Ultimate titles. They're wonderful. Sorry, Ian, let me cut you off there.
No, just completely agree with everything that you just said. Yep. And page 14 has page 40 has the 14th issue of that, and then 41 we get some Sandman action. on page 41 of Ultimate Spider-Man issue 15.
And what I love about this title, I mean, I've always loved Spider-Man, as many listeners know, since I was a little boy, but I've just kind of fallen off of the main books, not because they're necessarily bad. I don't want to get into it anymore. But this is great because you start fresh. It's Peter as an older man. He's married. If you love those types of stories years ago, this is the book for you.
Yep, absolutely. Namor and the Red Skull in Ultimates number 10.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, right. Man, Captain America and the Human Torch lead a team to recruit their old comrade Namor, but they'll have to get through the Red Skull gang first. Yeah, I'm in. That sounds fantastic. More Denise Camp action for you while we're at it. Page 43 for that. The 8 Deaths of Spider-Man continues in Amazing Spider-Man issue 69 by Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness. Plenty of Doom to be had. And, okay, it happened. We get ourselves...
What the hell is that?
Juggernaut. The Crimson Bands of Sidorak.
I see.
Peter Parker. Enter the Spider-Knot.
Wow.
Who is this unstoppable webbed wonder? So I guess there's still an outside chance it's somebody other than Peter under there, but...
Yeah, it's probably Peter. It's probably Peter.
Probably, yeah.
It takes you back to like the equivalent of like the Bronze Age. They had characters like Big Wheel and Rocket. What the hell? Like Rocket Racer. Whatever the hell.
Rocket Racer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Spider-Knot is still better than Spider-Side. Okay. Who also came back somewhat recently. So that's your 90s nostalgia right there. Page 45 for issue 70 there, the Spider-Knot. And I'm actually looking forward to this Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man animated series, which is going to be launching soon. This is a mini-series that's tied into that. They did officially announce that it's not going to be an MCU tie-in. It's going to be its own thing, and that's going to allow it to basically just be whatever Spider-Man they want it to be. And it looks like a lot of fun. I watched the trailer for it, and I like the animation style, and the overall feel is very Spidey. So,
and I hope Christos Gage is also involved in scripting the episodes of the show, because he's involved in that what I consider legendary Avengers animated series, which I think is one of the best cartoons Marvel's ever produced.
Absolutely. So. I never want to look at this Spider-Boy cover on page 48. Like, no, don't have a mouth. Just don't.
I actually feel bad for that hot dog. Holy mackerel.
Although I do appreciate, as a New Yorker, the the 616 version of Grace Papaya is called Papaya Loca. So that makes me very happy. Grace Papaya is a hyper local hot dog place in New York. They used to have a recession special where you were able to get 2 hot dogs and a papaya juice for like $5.
Wow!
And you can't beat that. But there's still 2 locations of Grace Papaya in New York City to this day. Spider-Boy issue 17 there. And page 49 brings us a new issue of New Champions with a great cover by Todd Knock.
And for our younger listeners, the Champions was a Bronze Age team comprised of the most bizarre Marvel characters you could ever imagine together on one team. Murd? Which characters were those?
Okay, Hercules, Ghost Rider, Black Widow, Angel, and Iceman.
That's correct.
Yep.
Currently, it's just a bunch of young Marvel heroes.
Basically, the Champions became the new Warriors in concept. They've kind of been like the Teen Titans of the 616 for a little while now. So
Yep, Mark Waid even wrote them briefly.
Indeed, when he was writing the main Avengers title. New Champions number 3 there on page 49. And look at this cover for West Coast Avengers number 5 as Flag Smasher returns.
Flag Smasher, wow.
Yeah. I gotta read this.
Not a little girl either. He's an adult man.
Yes, he is. Oh, man. Yeah, Sam Wilson, Captain America miniseries continues there on page 51. And Murdough. Hey, Al Ewing, Venom. That's a series that I'm going to have to get to eventually. I sat my ass down and I watched that 3rd Venom movie. And
I still haven't seen any of them, frankly.
Hey, if you want a solid, I say this every time, if you want a solid 2002
Gotcha.
Movie.
Like PG-13 horror comedy.
Exactly. Then that's what Venom will do for you. I have fun with it. I do. I just divorce myself from anything
Tom
else.
Hardy's a great actor, but
Oh yeah. Yep.
Look at Venom tearing apart MODOK.
It
doesn't look good for poor MODOK here.
No, it does not. Oh. Okay, Puluminati. The elite pools assemble.
I'm feeling another Jamie D facepalm coming on. Even before he left us, Jamie talked about how he thought Deadpool was becoming overexposed, and now we see this.
Yep. Well, it's basically all the Deadpools and more from the various universes together in one title here, because you demanded it. Well, but whatever. It might turn out to be fun. It has artwork by Todd Knock. I'll probably read it for that very reason. Page 54.
I'm definitely getting this. This is a really exciting facsimile.
Oh, yes.
So Marvel Fanfare was a magnificent 80s series where they would do sometimes over a couple issues, but sometimes just single issue stories highlighting different Marvel characters. Some, A-listers, some not as well known. So it's a classic 80s series I highly recommend. This is a Barry Windsor Smith, Roger McKenzie story involving The Thing, and then a story involving Daredevil. So if you just love 80s Marvel, where the continuity was still so tight, for example, Marvel Fanfare is a great book to check out.
Nice. Gotta love that cover, too.
Yeah.
Page 55 for that issue 15 facsimile. Great cover there for Scarlet Witch number 10. Yep. Page 57. More
Deadpool.
Yeah, there's going to be tons of Deadpool no matter where you go. But this looks like it's going to be some Miles Morales versus Deadpool action in Deadpool issue 12 by Cody Ziegler, page 60. Makes sense because Cody Ziegler writes Miles Morales Spider-Man. So there you go. Get the crossover going on page 60 and 61.
I want to mention the Namor series by Jason Aaron. I've been reading that monthly. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm a huge Aaron fan, of course, but I've always loved the Namor character, and he's not always served well depending on who's handling him, but this is really well done. It combines early stories of Namor as a very young person, and then that ties those events into what's going on in the present day. Basically, there's a World War of the Oceans or World War C going on, where all these different undersea kingdoms are battling for supremacy, and Namor is trying to handle this because he's afraid of the surface world getting involved. It is a vintage Submariner story. I can't recommend it enough. Really excellent.
I'm sorry, Chris, but my brain immediately went to, we saved your ass in World War II. Yeah, well, we saved your ass. Classic.
Don't get me into some of the many myths of World War II. We tend to forget the Russians when we discuss our victory, but that's another discussion.
Oh yeah. Well, that's for your own podcast, but
yes, which is still being worked on. I can assure people it's a long but satisfying process.
Sure. Yep. Absolutely. Trust me, we all know. Daredevil number 19, The Wages of Sin. Great JRJR cover there.
Yeah, it sure is.
Page 65. JRJR, I don't love him on everything, but I love him on water effects.
Oh, absolutely. God.
Nobody does In the Rain better than John Romita Jr.
No. Yeah, wonderful.
And then,
this is a series I have to read in trade. I love it's Al Ewing again. I love the first issue, but the first trade is $30.
Oh my God.
Man, and the subsequent trades are less, but I couldn't don't you want me to read the series? I couldn't believe it.
Well, how many issues does that collect?
Just like a standard trade.
Like 6 issues?
5 or 6. I was shocked. I was like, oh God. That's my price point griping for the episode.
currently discounted to $20.49 on Amazon.
That's still,
I know.
Come on.
Yeah, but $30. If it is like 6 issues, I mean that's no savings over just buying the 6 issues off the rack.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, the Executioner returns in this issue 21 here, and that looks like it's going to be good times. Page 66. Get issue 2 of the Star Wars Legacy of Vader by Charles Soule and Luke Ross. I
mentioned this last month. Luke Ross is a magnificent artist. I've always loved his work through the decades, so I'm sure he'll do a wonderful job on this.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And Mark Guggenheim begins Star Wars Jedi Knights on that following page, page 70. First issue in the prequel era. Yeah. And onward we go to the trades. Get
There's a couple
whole New Warriors action.
Yeah, there's a couple things. I wanted you to comment on this, Ian, because I figured you'd have something to say about the New Wars omnibus.
Oh yeah. It's a classic era. It really is. It had its highs and it had its lows. But for a while there, New Warriors was the Titans, not the Teen Titans, but the Titans of the Marvel Universe. And while Nicieza was writing it, that was definitely the case. Plus, you get Dan Slott, Kurt Busiek involved in this, and tons of other creators, David Michelini, Al Milgram. You can't go wrong with that. With some excellent Mark Bagley artwork to go along with it. I remember the Scarlet Spider was a member of the team for a while in the New Warriors.
And Night Thrasher is such a '90s character.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially in the early going when he was riding a skateboard.
Yep.
What I love is that this does not actually include issue 1 of Night Thrasher. It includes issues 2 through 10 of Night Thrasher. So I don't know what happened in that first issue that they're not allowed to include it here.
That's odd. Wow.
Yeah, it's very strange, but that's what the solicitation says. So that must be the case. But you got some Nova in there. You got some Fantastic Four, Amazing Spider-Man, Darkhawk.
Down at the bottom, it says material from Night Thrasher #1 is included. Maybe there was a backup story that they didn't reprint, so they can't say it's just the entire text of Night Thrasher #1.
Understood. Got it. Okay. Well, yeah, page 78. If you want your origins of the New Warriors, this is essentially what this trade paperback this hardcover collection is going to be. So worth checking out. And then 79 gives you the fall of the House of X and rise of power of
Good stuff.
omnibus that concluded the previous run of Krakoa. Once again on page 79.
All right, this is an exciting omnibus on page 81.
Yep.
The Spectacular Spider-Man by Demetrius and Sal Buscema omnibus. So this is one of my favorite runs of Spider-Man in all the years I've read the character. So this is the Spectacular Spider-Man series, which is, the original volume 1, which is now obviously defunct. But Demetrius did a lengthy run with Buscema on the character. And being Demetrius, he really explored the psychological aspects of Spider-Man's world. Not only Spider-Man, but he really goes into Harry Osborn and how damaged he was by, being the son of the Green Goblin. These stories are outstanding. They feature issue 200, to me, one of the all-time great Spider-Man stories. That is the death of Harry Osborn. It's extremely powerful. You have Tombstone introduced. If you enjoyed Tombstone in the recent Amazing Spider-Man storyline, the characters introduced here. They do a lot of work with Vermin. Pretty much every issue in this run is great, and I'm not being hyperbolic. This is some of the best Spider-Man I think ever produced. Yep. So I'm definitely ordering this.
Yep, I started reading comics right in the middle of this run. Yeah. So I don't think I knew it I don't think I knew at the time how good I had it.
I unfortunately started reading Spider-Man during the Clone Saga, so that's yeah.
But you're still standing, honey. You're still with us.
Still standing. Yep, absolutely. But yeah, excellent stuff there on page 81. Yep. The Peter David Omnibus Volume 4 is collected on page 3.
Very good series.
And this collects the later days of X Factor. It's X Factor from 2005, issues 233 to 262, all new X Factor 1 through 20, and X-Men Legends issues 5 and 6. So the second run that Peter David had with X Factor, basically to its conclusion there on page 83.
All right, we got to pause here again. This is the last thing I'll talk about. Then I got to go, guys. I apologize.
Oh, absolutely.
My bedtime is approaching. Plus, I still have to take my beloved dog out for the evening.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a gallery edition, I believe.
Yes,
it is. Now, Marvel has done a series of these editions where when they're huge, like treasury-size hardcovers. You open them up. The restoration of the art. It's a cinematic presentation. So they've done Kree Skull War, Daredevil Born Again, Captain America White. I'm maybe forgetting a couple others, but I think they did the death of Captain Marvel too. But this is the introduction of the black costume, the Aliens costume saga. It also has great Hobgoblin stories in it. This is a really exciting collection of Spider-Man. Now, I know I'm more of a Tom DeFalco fan than Murd is when it comes to him as a writer. But these are Spider-Man stories I cherished in the 1980s, and I'm thrilled to see them in the gallery edition. I will definitely be purchasing this.
Absolutely.
So,
page 87 for said archive gallery edition of the black costume.
gentlemen, it has been an honor as always.
Of course, Chris, thanks for sojourning with us for a solid 2 hours here, and we will talk to you soon, my friend.
You bet, brothers. We'll talk very soon. Good night to you both. Take care. Ciao.
Sure.
Okie dokie. To finish out the Marvel stuff, we have Volume 2 of the Ultimate Black Panther. So if you are waiting for trade for that, issues 7 through 12 of said Ultimate Black Panther run are available to you on page 89. And the first volume of the Exceptional X-Men by Eve L. Ewing is on that page 90, if you were waiting for that as well. And, of course, if you were waiting for Rob Liefeld's last work for Marvel... ... for now. Deadpool team up by Rob Liefeld, Blood of the Dragon. It's written and penciled by the man, minus feet, on page 93. I mean, hey, he gave us at least one pair of feet on the cover, so that's one more than we usually get.
Well, okay, yeah, I can make out one boot.
Yeah, exactly. That's a foot.
Yep, 1 foot and a pair of shins, and I guess we'll have to be satisfied with that.
Thereabouts, yeah. How about this here on page 96? I remember mentioning this for the Venom War and how we were interested in it because of who wrote it. Kelly and Lanzig's Venom War Spider-Man Lethal Protectors trade paperback is collected in full here. So Kelly Lanzig, Sabir Pirzada, Adam Warren, and Kelly Thompson. Penciled by Greg Land, Luca Maresca, Joey Vasquez, and Girahuru. So, whole bunch of Venom War stuff. Spider-Man, with some excellent creators to go along with it. And that is about it, I believe, for Marvel, unless there's an Epic collection worth mentioning. Yeah, we'll mention this in passing here. The Mutant Genesis trade paperback, there's a brand new printing of that volume 19 there. Claremont, Lee, Portasio, leading up to X-Men, the relaunch, issues 1 through 3 at the very end there. So the lead up to and the launch of, at the time, the best-selling issue period of comics, the relaunch of X-Men.
And an historical curiosity on page 109, the Human Torch series from 2003, part of Marvel's short-lived Tsunami line of American manga light, by Carl Kiesel and Scotty Young. There's a bit of early work from Scotty here. It's the Human Torch Burn, collecting what I believe is all 6 issues of that series.
Yeah, I had completely forgotten this entire trade existed. So thank you very much for pointing that out at the end there, Murd, because you're right. That was a very short-lived, relaunch. Well, not relaunch, but just launch of new titles. Yeah. And I remember reading a few issues of this and actually kind of liking it. All right, and that is that for Marvel, and on we go to the previews catalog. And back we go to some independent stuff. I will start it off here with a Blaze. All the People I Have Been, hardcover by Alfonso Casas. This is a 144-page hardcover here. It's better to laugh in life, and if possible, to laugh at yourself. In this new graphic novel, cartoonist Alfonso Casas reflects on the various phases of life, portraited through beautiful illustrations created to remind us of the power of our thoughts and the new worlds in which we constantly find ourselves. As in his previous title, Monster Mind, Casas focuses on the premise that all humans live their own lives within their own minds, which deserve to be treated with grace as our homes among this crazy, big, diverse world. Fascinating and introspective stuff to be found there with All the People I Have Been on page 188, and some really well rendered, weird ass artwork on the following page, like completely differing styles of, how the kid sees himself versus, an older version of him fighting monsters and stuff. It's very, very cool. So we're checking out. Further down, we go into the catalog. Let's start with Plot Holes here by Sean Gordon Murphy.
Yep, this is on page 198 under Massive Publishing, and this is something that I nominated for, I think it was Best New Hero or Team a year or so ago. The Plot Holes, it's about a group of, it's kind of like the Judd Winnick Exiles, actually. It's a group of refugees from now defunct fictional realities who formed this emergency response team that is dispatched into different fictional realities created by usually amateur novelists and the like, where they try to patch up critical time-space problems in these worlds, sometimes caused by nothing more than bad writing on the author's parts, and to preserve these worlds. And in worlds that can't be preserved, they'll take along a character as a souvenir, and that character will join their team. And our point of view character for all of this is a comic book writer who discovers that he is in fact nothing but a character in a book someone wrote about writing comics. And he comes along with them on their wacky adventure at some point they come upon one of their ex-teammates who has become like a cosmic level threat, like a fiction vampire that is sucking the life out of these different fictitious worlds that they're trying to save. It's interesting stuff. It was a 6-issue miniseries, I believe, and it's being collected here in softcover.
Excellent. Was waiting for the collection of this, and I will most definitely be checking it out there on page 198. Meanwhile, page 199. This is something that I will have to point out to Raph and make sure that he got for himself, because it combines two of his favorite things: detectives and giant-ass monsters. Detective Kaiju by Michael Calero with artwork by Kit Wallace. From the pages of the fan-favorite series Quested comes a noir comic of epic proportion. Detective Kaiju, the hard-boiled investigator, gets his own miniseries. In his debut issue, Detective Kaiju's past catches up with him when the body of an old friend is discovered in South Falbron. Now he must face the demons of his past while uncovering a trail of secrets surrounding the unusual murder. Love the concept here. Kind of almost like Hellboy-esque with a little bit more of a crazy bent to it. So, Detective Kaiju on page 199.
I just love that he's 100 feet tall, but he's still wearing a trench coat and fedora, just to keep a low profile.
Oh, yeah, clearly, yeah. I also love the on the bottom there. You must have your own series now, right?
Yes, and as a kid, just stares blankly into the distance.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Mr. Sean Gordon Murphy, Zorro Man of the Dead gets a massive select exclusive. So this is a 24-page, basically epic version of the Zorro Man of the Dead, featuring cover artwork from Italian art sensation Matteo Scalera, offered to retailers for the first time. And limited to 400 copies available. So if you want this, get on it as fast as you can. It's a gorgeous cover. But $19.99 for 24 pages means you must really got to love it in order to get it. So page 201 there for that special edition. Let's get further into the catalog. And how about this wonderful Archie is Mr. Justice cover, the Matt Talbot cover on page 209. Got to mention that. And this is, of course, the third issue of Archie is Mr. Justice. But, of course, Archie is not Mr. Justice, as we have pointed out multiple times now, but they don't care. So
we're just going to pretend the point is the creators anyway.
Yeah. Page 208 there, available on March 19th, issue 3 of 4 of this miniseries. Right. There's a new Mirka Andolfo series, Midnight Airlines, out of Distillery, on page 216.
Yep, and here there be vampires.
There sure be. Midnight Airlines sweeps readers into a dark, erotic, and suspenseful adventure where vampires glide through luxury shadows. Dave, a jaded airport desk clerk, stumbles upon Midnight Airlines, a clandestine, high-end air carrier catering exclusively to blood-sucking elite. When Dave's curiosities land him on a flight filled with these deadly, charismatic passengers, he's thrust into a brutal game of survival within this hidden society. Great concept. I love that it's playing on the fact that the only way that vampires can cross water is if they're in some sort of craft, and
That's true.
So it's working upon that. Excellent concept, and I can't wait to see how this is going to wind up turning out on page 216. Further along, we go to Defiant. This is by Chuck Austin and Pat Olive. Okay. Didn't expect to find those names in a distillery book, and yet, lo and behold, there they be on page 218.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Yeah.
I still have the certain affection for Pat Olive's artwork, and Chuck Austin. I could learn to like his writing when he's not writing characters created by somebody else. Let's put it that way.
I agree with that entirely. Yeah, stay away from the X-Men, and I'm perfectly okay. But yeah, this looks like it's going to be a spacefaring epic essentially. On his final mission, Sandusky returns to the stars to reclaim his son Devin's body and uncover the truth surrounding his death. Light years from home, among a cascade of twisted metal, Sandusky finds Devin, his body entombed in the remains of his ship, the Defiant, lost in a massive battle that sparked an intergalactic war. But nothing is what it seems. As Sandusky digs deeper, he and his allies are drawn into a galaxy-spanning mystery, one that holds secrets far darker and more complex than anticipated. For fans of Dune, Firefly, and Andor.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And Saga too, probably.
Probably, yeah. Defiant there on page 218. Gotta love me some Olive, so definitely worth at least giving a look.
Sure.
Yep. And that artwork on the preview pages is exactly what I would expect. Excellent. All right, let's go further in. There's a new graphic novel by Jason Howard, The Missionary. Distillery's got some good stuff this month. Page 230 is where this is on. It's actually a new graphic novel by Ryan Stegman with artwork by Jason Howard, a horror comic for the ages. Bryce Hunter is a devoutly religious man whose faith is shattered when he catches his wife being intimate from an elder from his church. This harrowing event sends Bryce spiraling into the hands of a demonic entity named Euvidus. Instead of rejecting possession, Bryce accepts Euvidus. Bryce wants to learn to be bad, and Euvidus wants to be less than completely evil. And together, they form the Odd Couple.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Da, ba, da, 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 da.
And you call that spaghetti? No, it's linguine. Psh, now it's garbage.
Garbage.
Yeah, they say this is for fans of Preacher, Chainsaw Man, and The Exorcist, and I can see that immediately from the description. So, yeah, if you want to check it out, I mean, Stegman's an excellent creator. Jason Howard is a fantastic artist. Loved his work on Batman back in the day, and the Astounding Wolfman stuff that I saw from him was also great. So, yeah, page 230 for The Missionary. Onward we go to Dark Horse. Cullen Bunn brings us Arcana Royale. From the co-creator of The Sixth Gun in Harrow County comes a new supernatural thriller that the Sandman meets Rounders. Interesting. Hudson Tremaine is a streetwise gambler who has siphoned money from every high-stakes game in Vegas. She's made a name for herself, but she's also made more than a few enemies in the gambling underworld. When she's invited to play in the most underground card tournaments of all, the Arcanos Mysterios, she realizes the stakes are higher than she ever imagined possible. Dealing with some arcane card games. with Arcana Royale, and Cullen Bunn bringing that to you on page 241. Mignola's latest is Lady Baltimore, The Daughters of Medusa, with artwork by Bridget Connell on page 242 there as well. Cover to be revealed, but it's another Mignola miniseries, so what else do you really need to know? Two-part story. How about The Great British Bump Off, Kill or Be Quilt? I just needed to say that. Yeah.
Pretty quality pun.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently this is a further volume of The Great British Bump Off, which was a murder mystery parody of The Great British Bake Off, featuring murder among professional cake bakers.
Well, glad to see that warranted a second miniseries, because that's just an excellent premise, to say the least.
Yeah.
Page 242 concludes with that solicitation. Get the Space Usagi White Star Rising trade paperback, which collects the entire Space Usagi White Star Rising miniseries, all 3 issues of it, by Stan Sakai. Page 245.
We've got a new Mark Miller concept at the bottom of page 245 there. Vatican City. It's set in a world in which a vampire apocalypse has transformed pretty much everybody on Earth into a vampire except everyone who happened to be inside the Vatican City at the time. So humankind consists of exactly 2,000 people inside the Vatican, and they're besieged there, and it's only a matter of time before the monsters get in.
Sounds like a Mark Miller comic to me.
Another fun, uplifting concept from that Master of the Extreme. Unfortunately, it's $5.99 for a 32-page comic. Otherwise, I would give it a look.
Mm-hmm. What may be worth giving a look, if you've never checked out Chrononauts, that's getting a library edition hardcover now, and that has Sean Gordon Murphy artwork along with Mark Miller writing. Page 246 there collects both volume 1 and 2 of Chrononauts in one package. And on we go to IDW, and on we go to a whole bunch of monster stuff. But of course, the second issue of Godzilla Heist that Raph was very much looking forward to. Page 247 solicited there. And the Sonic the Hedgehog Chasing Shadows miniseries begins as that brings a new Shadow miniseries upon us. Of course, Shadow was just in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, played by Keanu frickin' Reeves. And I cannot wait to see that movie. It looks like it was a stupid amount of fun. It got better reviews than any of the other Sonic movies did. Just
not that the bar was set that high, but still.
Very true. Very true. It's just like the first two were like, teetering in like the 60s review-wise. Sonic 3 got like an 85. So hopefully that means it's good, and it just doesn't mean that the critics were just bored for everything else. But we shall see. Can we point out on that same page, Star Trek Lore War by Chris Cantwell? Yes. This is a all-new crossover event between Star Trek and Defiant, with a variant cover that's very Lower Decks-esque. That makes me very happy, as we're very much dealing with the evil data this time around, and what he may bring upon the various Star Trek crew with Star Trek Lore War #1. Once again, there on page 248. And that concludes IDW. As we get very much into the rest of the Toxic Avenger Volume 1 by Matt Bors collects the first volume of the reboot of Toxic Avenger on page 253 there. And in we go to Valiant. And some new #1s. Bloodshot gets a #1 as a new era of storytelling begins for Bloodshot, as a new start for pretty much a whole bunch of stuff at Valiant. Page 256 brings us that. Tales of the Shadow Man, Valiant Beyond, on page 257. And then we get a old school Bloodshot Unleashed hardcover there on page 258. And even they are getting into the facsimile game with Exo Man of War #1 by Jim Shooter and Barry Windsor Smith.
Mm-hmm.
That's on 259.
Yep, it's getting to be a major publishing category in the comics biz.
Yes, it is. I want to point out on page 264, Big Book of Rex Libris by James Turner. The astonishing story of the incomparable Rex Libris, head librarian at Middleton Public Library. From ancient Egypt, where his beloved Hypatia was murdered, to the farthest reaches of the galaxy in search of overdue books, Rex upholds his vow to fight the forces of ignorance and darkness, wearing his super thick bottle glasses and armed with an arsenal of high technology weapons. He strikes fear into the recalcitrant borrowers and can take on virtually any foe, from zombies to renegade literary characters. This book contains all of the Rex Libris stories. God bless you, Rex Libris.
You're doing God's work, son.
Yes, you are. Yep.
Yeah, so this is got to be right around the 20th anniversary of Rex Libris, I think. I just got around to reading some of the original stories just over this past summer, I think.
Nice.
Pretty highbrow, intelligent satire. It's a two-fisted, hard-boiled action-adventure librarian character.
Well, and the thing that Amaze Inc. / Slave Labor Graphics gets to do is that because it's black and white and it's a 7x10 softcover, 442 pages will only set you back $44.95 before any sort of discount, which is not too shabby for that amount of story being told. So yeah, if you want it all in one package, this is a great way to do it. So page 264 for Rex Libris. Down we go. And we'll do Pavel's Mask by Jeremy Perdue, or Perdeau. When a mysterious aircraft crashes on the windswept archipelago, just love saying archipelago, its lone survivor, Pavel, utters only two words: Crystal Empire. Is Pavel merely the scribe he claims to be, or something more sinister? Fascinating. There might be more to Pavel than meets the eye in this crash landing here. And Jeremy Perdeau will give you further information on said Pavel on page 293.
Perhaps it's a sad statement for myself that when I hear the words Crystal Empire, all I can think of is My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, because that was part of the map of Equestria.
See, and immediately my brain goes Steven Universe. So go figure.
That too. Can we go back to page 295 for a moment? I did have something earmarked there.
Yes, we can. And in fact, here we be, 295.
Yep, right down there in the lower right corner, under the publisher Bloomsbury, we have something new from Paul Tobin, who both wrote and drew this. It's called My Mummy versus Your Ghost. It's kind of an original graphic novel thing, a mere $9.99. It appears to be for younger readers, but it's kind of a variant take on the Pokemon phenomenon. We've got young, aspiring monster trainers, but instead of capturing these adorable little magical Japanese animals, they're capturing more traditionally Western undead monsters and battling them. Hence the title, My Mummy versus Your Ghost.
Nice. I dig that concept. Looks like a nice all ages esque comic as well.
Yep, for fans of stuff like Banana Sunday and Bandit, because Paul Tobin had a hand in those as well.
Fantastic. $2.95 for that. All right. Digging deeper into the book, The Adventures of Blake and Mortimer, the complete collection. Edgar P. Jacobs. At long last, a hardback collection edition of Blake and Mortimer is published in English. A renowned physicist and the head of MI5 battle threats to the Empire and solve extraordinary mysteries across the globe. A Cinebook exclusive, not even available in French, this complete collection will gather 2 or 3 books per volume in the original publishing order, plus another book's worth of fascinating extra material on the series and the author. So let's think about that. Not even in the original language that Blake and Mortimer was made for have they ever collected it in this fashion, and we are lucky enough to get it here out of Cinebook. So that is pretty damn cool.
Yes, sir. It's a good time to be an English-speaking comic reader.
Yes, it is. Yep. So, page 304, The Adventures of Blake and Mortimer, the complete collection, volume 1 in hardcover. Page 308. Fred Van Lente and Tom Fowler are putting something together that I am very much interested in. Game Masters, the comic book history of role-playing games.
Oh, wow. It's another one of Fred Van Lente's illustrated history projects.
Mm-hmm. You got it. Yep. And tackling something that I'm very much a fan of, and something that very much deserves the treatment at that matter. Role-playing games like D&D, in which players take the roles of heroes in their own stories, have solidly moved from the geek fringes to the mainstream, beloved by celebrities and inspiring hit podcasts and massively successful sales in games, comics, and hobby shops. Only took them 30 years. The story of the tabletop's triumph, even in our digital age, begins in the day of actual sword-wielding warriors, leading right up to the fireball-casting avatars of today. And that's what Fred Van Lente has for us here. This is going to be worth getting. Absolutely.
Yep. Thank you for pointing that one out, Ian.
Yeah, my pleasure, sir. Absolutely. D&D is now big enough where there are live plays selling out Madison Square Garden. So that's that says a lot about our current state of existence when it comes to D&D.
And I've still never played a campaign of it in my life.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't play it until I was about 30. So like it is one of those things that like if you don't get into it young, it could like pass you by until you find the right crew that are looking to get into it. I actually started, weirdly enough, we were reading a book at the time I was a part of a book club, and we were reading a book that included Dungeons and Dragons, and then one of my friends put together a campaign, and before we knew it, we were doing it like almost monthly. So that's the way it turned out. Page 310, Coffin Comics, brings you a new Lady Death, Eternal Sabbath. So any of you folks who like both the T and the A, it is available to you in a brand spanking new #1, Lady Death, Eternal Sabbath, on page 310. That is all I will say about that.
Well, you said the two letters.
Yes.
That's pretty close to all that needs to be said about Lady Death.
Exactly. I am interested in this Dead Sky Publishing book on page 313, Red Range, by Keith Landslade and Jock. Obviously, it's got freaking Jock on artwork. But Range is a man out of luck, out of time, and out for vengeance. With his wife and child taken by the clan, he rides for justice, but vengeance leads to strange times and bizarre lands as Range is washed away to a place filled with odd tech and creatures long forgotten. Now all he wants is to get home. Kind of a Mad Max bent here.
Yeah, it's kind of a dinosaur western.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. Red Range #1, mixing the old with the new and putting something new out there.
Yeah.
313.
Some shades of Turok there.
Yes. The Badger, Mad Monkey Shock and Roll, point out that is the 3rd issue of said Badger book. 322.
Brought to us by Mike Barron.
Indeed. And Fair Square on page 324 brings us Happy Endings, written by and drawn by Lucy Bryant. 3 stories, 1 creator. Once upon a time, there was a cemetery gardener who fell in love with a professional grave mourner with a look of a ghost. Once upon a time, there was an art student who asked a young man to pose for her on New Year's Eve. And once upon a time, there were agents from the future sent to our present to a small seaside town to fix a temporal cat-related paradox. They found themselves enjoying Italian ice cream while watching sunsets and no longer wanting to return to their dimension. And they ended up who knows where. This sounds fantastic.
All beautiful things must come to an end, but if we must choose, let it be beautiful.
Mwah. Happy endings, baby. Yeah. This is my type of weird, and the artwork looks super fun and enjoyable, and just happy endings. Lucy Bryan, page 324. Yes, please, thank you.
A little bit of artful optimism in our comics here.
Absolutely.
All right, something from Fantagraphics there at the bottom of page 326. It's a collection of something called Santos Sisters, which has been coming out from a small independent publisher called Floating World lately. The creators are a little coy about who they actually are, but it's basically a pair of Latina sisters who gain magical relics and have strange adventures as costumed superheroines, while at the same time taking time to just do teenage girl stuff like hang out on beaches and things. It's all in the vein of like a classic Archie Comics good girl art, like Dan DiCarlo stuff. It's kind of like if Sabrina the Teenage Witch were two Hispanic sisters who also moonlight as superheroes and just do fairly surreal, weird stuff. And it's like the Happy Endings book you just pointed out. It's a very wholesome, positive, though occasionally prurient kind of weird.
Nice.
And I think they put out 7 issues of it so far, plus maybe a Halloween special along the way. I don't know how much this Fantagraphics hardcover is collecting, but it's the first 5 issues, there it is, of the charmingly weird and weirdly charming hit indie comic book series.
You mean their names aren't really Greg and Fake? That's so weird.
Yes, that's right. I mean, who names himself Greg? Seriously.
I know, right? Come on. Yeah. Well, no, this sounds awesome. Maybe one, like when they're done with it, they'll unmask themselves and reveal who actually created this damn thing. But yeah, that sounds like a cool premise, and this is a good way to get all the first 5 issues in a hardcover for $25. Mm-hmm. Not bad.
Meantime, the work does speak for itself. I can attest to that.
Excellent. Onward we go in the book, and let's see if there's anything that calls out to me, and this might be one. Gold Key Select, Boris Karloff thriller, #1. Step into the shadows with Gold Key Select, where eerie tales of yesteryear await. Ghostly apparitions and spine-chilling mysteries entwine in this masterful collection. Let Karloff's haunting voice lead you through a realm of suspense and supernatural dread. Are you prepared to embrace the lurking darkness? Fascinating.
All right, so this is going to be a collection, and I'm not sure how this is selected or curated, but this is like the horror supernatural anthology series that Gold Key published back in the 60s. Mm-hmm. And this is only 36 pages, so this isn't even... I don't think they just took like one issue of Boris Karloff thriller and reprinted it. I'm guessing that they sampled a few different short stories from the run of the series.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this is going to be like a best of thing. It's calling itself a #1 issue. Maybe they're going to do more than one of this.
I would think so, yeah.
And it's an interesting choice of something to reprint here in 2025.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely, yeah. Oh, well, I mean, if there's one thing we know from reading the previous catalog is that horror is very much a thing that exists all over the place.
All year long.
Yep. So why not join that ride and keep the Gold Key imprint a-rolling with some old classics reprinted and reissued. So may as well give it a go on page 336. That's some pretty artwork there by Kaza on Arkady and the Lost Titan. Once again, something that's being collected in English for the first time. This is renowned artist Kaza's epic masterpiece. 528-page hardcover here. All about 10,000 years ago, the Earth stopped moving. Half the world was plunged into frigid night. The other is scorched in day. Young warrior Arkady, whose tribe lives in the thin strip of habitable land known as Twilight, must brave the wide, dangerous outer world to discover why the world stands still and to rescue it if he can. fascinating concept. Absolutely gorgeous artwork on the following pages. This is well worth checking out if you're into the fantasy genre. Once again, a little bit of a Mad Max bent to it. Page 343 for that.
Lush, otherworldly, beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay. Let's get down further into the book. Paul Tobin and
The aforementioned, who also brought us My Mummy, Your Ghost.
Page 361 brings us Dark Pyramid. It was locked away, and now it's here to stay. Hooky Hidalgo. What a name. Adventurist and popular live streamer, like and subscribe, has gone missing while climbing Mount Denali in Alaska. When his girlfriend Becca arrives at the base of the mountain to retrace his steps, she soon discovers something beyond the dreamy and impressive landscape. There's a conspiracy deep within the heart of Denali itself, a dark pyramid, silent, waiting. Becca and the scores of Hooky fans determined to either find him or find some fun will face death, avalanches, and monsters to find the truth. Interesting, very interesting premise here. 5-issue mini, 361. If you've ever wanted to experience a live stream gone horribly awry, this will be for you. Gatchaman, it reaches its 8th issue on 364. And the second issue of the Tommy Lee Edwards Gatchaman Only One Earth miniseries on that same page, 364. 374, Maverick brings us Student Government by Dave Justice and Lila Sturgis. Welcome to Halcyon Burke University, where class war is in session. At America's second oldest university, 4 earnest, clever, and desperate teens on the interim student government exploit a charter loophole in an effort to save their school from being demolished, facing down pressures on campus and escalating hostility from the Board of Regents in a story both hilarious and heartfelt. This sounds right up my alley.
Huh.
Yeah. Student Government, page 374. Save the school, save your world. 382. This is from Patrick Horvath, who is Eisner nominated. 56-page, self-contained one-shot that delivers a brutal new vision of capitalism by combat, which is not at all something that we should worry about as a society. Anyway,
There are a lot of concerns we should have related to capitalism, but anyway.
Yeah, I hear you. In the future, the World Finance League, yes, the WFL, yes, I'm a big fan, it exists to benefit all, randomly choosing those from among the billionaires and trillionaires of the world and presenting them with a choice: either donate half of their assets to the common good or defend them in ritual combat.
Oh, okay, so it's the rich people who have to fight. That's like, I could get into that.
Absolutely. Wow. Okay, 382 free for all. I am in. This is a really cool concept. Spectacle of commerce and carnage. Gotta love it.
Yes, indeed.
Oh wow, and those preview pages, the artwork is great, I gotta tell you. Very, very evocative of what he's attempting.
And then on page 386, we've got another Christopher Cantwell book. So, Chris, if you're still listening and you happen to miss this one, just head on over to your friendly e-tailer and order up a copy. This is it's actually cover featured. It's on the back cover of this previews catalog. It's called Out of Alcatraz, number 1 of 5, written by Cantwell with art by Tyler Crook. And it appears to have kind of a 60s pulp flavor to it. Convicts Frank Morris and Clarence Anglin have washed ashore in San Francisco after surviving their infamous escape from Alcatraz in June 1962. They soon meet their gruff and disappointed handler, a mysterious young woman who's also running from something, and hope to quickly get their way north to the border if they can even make it out of Modesto alive.
Ooh.
So there you go. It's a fugitive story.
Gotta love it.
In the vein of Criminal. It's not the same creative team, but it's one that I know Chris would like, so...
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Hope he's listening. Hope he's buying.
I hope he is too. And for that matter, Cantwell is such a diverse writer. You know, he could really just do anything. It makes me very, very happy. Excellent. This is going to be a 5-issue mini, by the way. So if you want to wait it out, it'll be 5 issues when collected. And artwork, great. Dark, moody, gloomy. The way that they portray the murky waters there of Alcatraz is breathtaking, honestly. Good stuff. Speaking of Mr. Cantwell, he'll also be part of the Epitaph from the Abyss, issue 9, on page 390. The Nacelliverse, Volume 1, Biker Mice from Mars and Roboforce, collected in one on page 395. You get Nacelliverse number 0, you get Roboforce 1 through 3, and Biker Mice from Mars 1 through 3, all in one trade paperback. Damn Skippy. Gotta love me some Biker Mice from Mars.
Biker Mice from Mars.
Mm-hmm. They're not turtles, we swear. They don't live in sewers. They're from Mars. Yeah. Okay. I'll just point this out because Bluey is the best damn kid show of the last I can't tell you how long. But there's a new Penguin Young Readers. What would Bluey's mum do? Hardcover by Penguin Young Readers licenses. That is literally what they list as the writer and the artist for it. So clearly that's just great. But it's a Bluey book, and Bluey is great. So check it out on page 404 if you want something for the young kiddos of the world. Shane McKenzie on page 411. Hey, look, a wrestling comic that didn't come out 4 years ago. Gigante number 1. Shane McKenzie and J.M. Kuyar Kema, Marta and Felix head to the border with the intent of dressing like immigrants in hopes of being caught. Their goal is to capture footage for their documentary about immigrant abuse. Things do not go as planned. So, yeah, not exactly the wrestling book that I thought it was going to be when I started reading it. However,
nope.
Still worth reading, especially in this day and age. Gigante on page 411.
Yep, there is a guy in a luchador mask on the front cover, anyway.
Yes, there is. Very much not what the book is about. Oh, well, they almost had me. What does have me is Osaka SPD by Andy Levy and Hugo Arrudo. This is the sequel to Sumerian's best-selling original graphic novel, Osaka Mime. So another one in that series there. A shape-shifting mime prowled the streets of Osaka, leaving a trail of terror by claiming its victims and their identities. The city trembled as the creature moved undetected, blending seamlessly into the lives it stole. After a relentless pursuit, the Osaka Supernatural Police Department confronted the monster in a rain-soaked alley where one detective made the ultimate sacrifice and another faced the nightmare head-on to end its reign. But that was just one chapter in the city's dark supernatural history. Each week, the Osaka Supernatural Police Department takes on the impossible, chasing nightmares no one else dares to face. In the nation's kitchen, no one knows what horror will strike next, but the Osaka SPD will always be there to stand against the darkness. Kind of has veins of almost like Ghost in a Shell meets a little bit more supernatural. So Osaka SPD Supernatural Police Department on page 416. Looks like you'd easily pick that one up even if you haven't read the first of it. So go figure.
All right, you can just stop right there on page 421.
Exactly. This is for you, Mert.
Yeah, and so Chris, if you had any concerns about our covering tomorrow's, don't worry, we got it.
Oh yeah,
because the new thing they're offering this month is issue number 159 of Back Issue, their Crisis on Infinite Earths 40th anniversary special. Mm-hmm. Yes. Let's see. Crisis on Infinite Earths 40th Anniversary Retrospective celebrating the Wolfman Perez magnum opus. A pre-Crisis tour of DC's multiple Earths, an analysis of Crisis and its crossovers, the Crisis Death List, post-Crisis DC retro projects, a guest editorial by Marv Wolfman himself, and more. Featuring interviews with Mike W. Barr, Steve Englehart, Robert Greenberger, Paul Levitz, Elliot S. Magan, Doug Monk, Derry Ordway, Roy Thomas, Mark Wade, and more. And representing the classic cover by Perez to the old ACG Crisis on Infinite Earths Index #1, which is a montage of all the different characters who died in the course of that maxi series.
Fantastic.
Or at least most of them. I don't notice, for example, Matt Hagen or the Bug-Eyed Bandit on this cover, but yeah. The theme is the theme. Now, a while ago, I was interviewed by a writer named Kevin Miller, who said that he was working on a book on Crisis that would be coming out through Tomorrow's. I don't know if that is still on the publishing schedule for Tomorrow's, or if Kevin's composition just became a part of this back issue, or if maybe it's a little of each. Like he contributed something to this, but still has a book coming out. Right. In any event, if a man named Kevin Miller has a byline in this issue, just know that that man read my thesis and asked me some questions about it. So,
well, there you go.
Hopefully I informed whatever crisis-related prose he produced.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, this is definitely worth checking out for anybody who is a crisisologist or just wants to know more about the behind the scenes of one of the most important series that ever ran in DC and changed it forever. And I'm glad that stuff like this exists, and to celebrate the 40th anniversary, Tomorrow's is the place to do it. So, absolutely.
Yep, I will certainly be adding that to my own library.
Page 421. And on page 422, there's another comics history book there, American Movie Comic Books, 1930s to 1970s, from the silver screen to the printed page. Yeah.
Peter, a history of comics adaptations of movies.
Yes, indeed. Yep. Peter Bosch continues his remarkable history of Hollywood's ongoing love affair with comic books. A sequel to American TV comic books, this new book looks at hundreds of Tinseltown's motion pictures that made the jump from the silver screen to the comics page, starting from the days of Charlie Chaplin and continuing through the wonders of Steven Spielberg. Ultimate reference for films from the 30s to the 70s that were adapted, including The Wizard of Oz, Ben-Hur, Around the World in 80 Days, Disney's classics and animated movies, Yellow Submarine, Star Wars, Planet of the Apes, etc., etc., etc. So, nice reference book to have if you're interested in that in any way on page 422.
That is a seriously cool and underexamined subject.
Yes, it is. All right. Let's see. Patton Oswalt, issue 2 of Money Shot on page 425. We mentioned issue 1 last month, and guess what? We're mentioning issue 2 this month, so do check it out. And otherwise...
on page 427, coming out from Vault, something for the 80s classic rock fan. An original graphic novel inspired by Def Leppard's Hysteria. Written by Elliot Rahal with story input from Phil Cullen of Def Leppard, art by Alex Schlitz. It's the story of the world's most dangerous guitar and the woman who wielded it.
Oh my God.
Yes, the main character is named Foz. She's the lead guitarist for a band called Darkside. She inherits this magic pink guitar, which helps her to make her band an international success until the guitar is stolen at one of their concerts, and she just moves heaven and hell to get it back.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, this is great for, as you said, any fan of Def Leppard or somebody who just wants something absolutely metal. Page 427. I will also mention, just in passing, on page 428, that there is now a graphic novel collecting part 1 of Wicked. Shockingly, there was just a movie that came out that was part 1 of Wicked. So this is excellently timed. Gregory Maguire putting through the first part of the Wicked saga. out of William Morrow on page 428.
Art by Scott Hampton.
All right, and on we go to the manga section. Guess who gets himself a manga? Street Fighter Masters Guile #1. M. Zachary Sherman and Joe Eng out of Udon putting that together. So if you want to know more about America's favorite son, Guile, this will tell you more about that on page 444.
Well, clearly I need to know more about him because currently I know nothing at all.
Well, he's got that hair and
Yep, he's got that hair.
Likes to flip. That's basically it. Minecraft has a manga on page 447. Minecraft, the manga by Kazuyoshi Seto, and yeah, it's exactly what I just said. It is Minecraft in manga form. They're all blocky, and they're having Minecraft adventures. Only it is not video game art. It is actual artwork. So nice translation into manga form of the Minecraft video game on page 447 there. For any of you fans.
At top of page 48, we've got the second and final volume of X-Men the Manga Remastered, which I'm pretty sure is a tie-in with the 90s cartoon.
Indeed. Yep.
I think we mentioned volume 1 when it dropped a couple of months ago. Well, here's the other half of it.
Yep. I almost got it at New York Comic Con, but it sold out every damn day. So I still need to get my hands on the first volume. But yes, this is the second and final volume, as Murd mentioned, on page 448. Right. And I will mention one more thing. Dog's Thread. I really hope that's how you pronounce it because I can't see any other way to do it, but I just like saying Dog's Thread. After winning the national championship, 15-year-old figure skater Ro Shirakawa was on his way to the Olympics, but with his mother's tragic death on his mind, he threw it all away in an outburst of rage. Banned from figure skating, he and his sister moved to Hokkaido. When he meets some local kids at a skating pond, they convince him to be a stand-in player for their soon-to-be disbanded hockey team. Their team has never won a game, and they're up against the local champs. But if they've got to go down, they want to score at least one goal before it's all over. Ro hasn't got a clue how to play ice hockey, but he sure knows how to skate. Quack. Quack, quack, quack. That's exactly where my brain goes with this. Like it's very, very, very Mighty Ducks with a much darker tone. But yeah, this is going to be great for any fan of sports manga. Right up your alley. Dog's Thread by Satoru Noda on page 451. Quack, quack. All right, I'm done. All right, and I think that's going to do it for me on manga. Any back of the book tchotchkes to point out?
There is just the one thing I had, and it's a cool enough thing that Previews decided to put a little corner image of it on the back cover. This is on the page M21.
Okay.
Page 21 of the merch section of the catalog.
Excellent. I'm almost there already, and here I am. Hot damn. Wow.
There it is. It is a Marvel Select Hobgoblin 1/10 scale action figure, complete with Goblin glider and a little plastic mask that he can hold in his hand, and looks like there's going to be a couple of interchangeable heads. So you've got the masked and hooded version. You've got Roderick Kingsley's scowling face there. I'm hoping there's also like a Ned Leeds head you can put on there.
But what about Jason McIndale? I mean, come on.
Oh, of course, Jason and Lefty Donovan and maybe even Phil Yorick.
Yep.
What the heck? Let's see. It says a variety of interchangeable heads, so there's room for there to be more than two.
All right, not bad, not bad. It is a beautiful sculpt. Wow. Yeah, they did a great job with that.
Yep, this guy, as Chris has often pointed out, was like the Spider-Man villain of like the latter half of the 80s.
Yep. No question about it.
Check out the articulation on those pixie boots, too. He can really fit those feet in the stirrups of that goblin glider.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done. And the SRP is only $34.99 for this. I mean, it's an action figure, but it's a beautifully done action figure. So, excellent.
Yep, $35 does not seem like too much to pay.
Yep, indeed. And by the way, on the next page, I will just quickly point out the Marvel Gallery diorama Deadpool and Wolverine PVC statue. This one's also only $59.99, and it is a perfect version of the Hugh Jackman Wolverine in full cowl and costume.
It really does look like him.
Yeah, excellent stuff. That's on M22, and guess what? I'm gonna call it.
That works for me.
Excellent. All right, another month done, and I hope you guys are buying a lot of stuff because Diamond needs the money. All right, so for that matter, I hope everything that we talked about actually winds up coming out because it would suck if it didn't. But we'll figure that out one way or the other. All right, well, stay tuned. And as I said, next week we will have ourselves a review corner for you folks to listen to. If you have not read for yourself Volume 1 of Radiant Black, do yourselves a favor and read it so you can know a little bit more about what we're talking about. And we'll have some other episodes to announce as this year goes forward here. We're happy to be here. We're happy to have you. And I'm happy to have you as well, Murd, here with me.
Yeah, thank you, Ian. I'm happy to be had.
Excellent. All right. And with that, I am happy to have credits. And they go like this. The email address for Comic Timing is comictiming@gmail.com. You can find us over at facebook.com/comictiming. And that's also where you can find the Comic Timing Facebook group. And we're happy to have you be a part of that and contribute to the overall conversation. Instagram is over at Comic Timing Podcast. We also have a threads at Comic Timing Podcast as well. And you can find us on Blue Sky at Comic Timing. You can also find video versions of this show, and you can read along previews with us at the YouTube page over at Comic Timing Podcast. We thank once again everybody who has donated to the show monetarily at patreon.com/comic timing. You guys are the best, and you can join that up for as little as $1 a month. And of course, as always, there's always time for comics. It's over.